Everyone is well. It is my immense pleasure to welcome one of the creme de la creme guitar players of our industry, one of the finest songwriters that I have come across as well, Hamin bhai. Thank you so much, so very much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I don't know whether I deserve the accolades that you just...
However, absolutely deserved. There is a core group of musicians who has led and made sure that the industry where it stands or whatever it stands is what it is right now, and we can only say thank you for what you have done and what you've given. But to start on a lighter note, obviously we've known each other for some time, and onek দুষ্টামি তো হয় এদিক ওদিক. So on a lighter note, I would like to start. 1991 তে আপনি একবার বললেন শান্তি নাই, 1993 তে বললেন শান্তি চাই, এরপর কি শান্তি পেলেন? বিকজ শান্তি তো আর তো কোনো তো গান দেখলাম না শান্তি নিয়ে।
ওই দুইটা গান নিয়ে যখনই চিন্তা করি তখন হঠাৎ করে আমার রিয়েলাইজেশন হয় যে ম্যান, এত আগে আমি শান্তি নাই শান্তি চাই করলাম, এটা যে এত পরে এত বিশেষ দরকার, এটা এত আগে সময় থেকে
এখন আরো বেশি দরকার,
অনেক বেশি দরকার। I want to bring back Shanti Chai in live sets because I think it's very pertinent right now, and people really need to talk about peace. This is going absolutely in every respect quite crazy.
And Shanti Chai is very interesting. We will talk a lot about guitars and guitar playing and also how your approach to writing songs. But Shanti Chai for me is very interesting because Shanti Chai riff is actually not a very stock standard riff. It is made out of a tap kind of a thing, which in 1993 when I was listening to someone like an EVH or whatever, the next level down Bangladesh theke, this was very interesting for me. Obviously you did a lot of tappings type of things Protishrutite, but Shanti Chai riff is very interesting to me. If you can place yourself to that day when you came up with that thing, it'll be great for us to know.
তখন first thing first is that at that time everything ওই যেটা টিপিক্যালি হয়, মানে everything flows, বেশি চিন্তা করি নাই, করতে হয় না অ্যাকচুয়ালি, সো করিও নাই। বাট তখন I am a big fan of Eddie Van Halen, and tapping was one of the things that we were just learning then. But it was a useful tool, so it came to me naturally যে এইটার ইন্ট্রোটা I want to do it differently. So I think I'm possibly the first Bengali Musliman who had did tapping, because if you আমরা 91 যখন প্রতিশ্রুতি করছি তখন খুব ফিউরিয়াস একটা ছিল। শাফিন বলল
দরদিয়ার পিছনে,
হ্যাঁ, যে শোন তুই একটু ফাস্ট টাইপের কিছু, তো দরদিয়ার পিছনে দ্যাট কেম, অলসো কেম ন্যাচারালি, বাট use that like you said in other albums. Shanti Chai particularly two part,
and খুব rhythmic ছিল অ্যাপ্রোচটা,
that kind of thing, and I use this generally say dhol, but it all fit in and it was what I wanted, and I didn't think it was pushed into that place. It was very naturally, it was there. Wanted a little bit of this aggressive to bhav, that was a thought, so just came with it.
It's very interesting because ওই riff writing এর approach খুব সাধারণত stock standard guitaristদের মধ্যে দেখা যায় না. I think when you have that songwriting overlay, I think you are thinking rhythmically, and আমার জন্য খুব ইন্টারেস্টিং ছিল ব্যাপারটা. So it's great.
At that time, Saif, we were not, মানে কতগুলো জিনিস আছে, I don't know how to say it, but maybe it's in the blood, or for whatever reason Also, I think the way we built ourselves in that Chambedi restaurant, where we played different kind of music and everything, সব মিলে এই যে rhythmic values এর কথা বলতে everything, when I thought of it, well, like I said, it came naturally, and I didn't calculate much. It's just like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. Most of my guitar parts in all songs in all albums are spontaneous. Some thought যেটাতে একটু think করতে বলছিল সেগুলা, like Frustration for example was live down studioতে, almost live, মানে back trackটা পুরাই live ছিল, etc. Shanti Chayo was that.
So spontaneous, when you say it was spontaneous, man, you came up spontaneously, obviously, but then you laid the parts out and
arrangement just worked on the arrangement.
Because apnar lead playing or apnar solo playing does not come across as very jammy. It feels like you've thought about a section gula ami ei bhabe bhag korbo, and this is erpore bridge e gele I am ending there so that it translates. Will that be a fair?
There was one thing different with Miles, was that we always gave the song and its aura the importance, and because the kind of music we are making and the musicians who were in there, it was always structured. So that's why, like for example, at that time I was playing guitars for everything, from Whitesnake to Pink Floyd to everything. But when we did Chattara, I played nothing. Because
you say you played nothing, but because at some point I picked Chattara up, and that clean comping part at on the verse, অনেকেই অনেক ভাবে বাজায়, but the way you played it in that record is very musical.
That fits the song.
It fits the song, এবং অনেকে হয়তো চিন্তাও করছে না পিছনে কি বাজছে, but unless you go deep into it, ওই staccato যে mixingটা, that was a beautiful way of complementing, as you say, playing for the song.
Right. Again, when we are doing the verse and etc., like it came, how, like that. And when Manam said that those Bojhatey is the guitar interlude hobe, and then I said, no, this song doesn't need no guitar solo as such. And I was telling him, just because it is not necessary যে guitar solo থাকলে কি solo থাকতে হবে, let's look at it totality. তাহলে কি হবে, তাহলে এখন কি হবে, I said, do the hum part, let's do something with the voice. So what is it like? So it's a voice part, so what is it like? I said, we can do something like that.
Which is very interesting, because এই হামের ব্যাপারে I have an observation যে there was a lot of ad-libbing and vocalizing of ohs, oohs in Protishruti, a lot in Protishruti, some in Prottasha, but slowly it died out. এখন চাত্তারার vocalizingটা is very interesting because it comes out of nowhere, but it still fits the song. How did you come up with that part? How was that song getting written, and how was it jammed out?
You won't believe it. It came very. We were in our DHS house, Mahakali, and when we this song, next day is the recording, so we're finishing off. Ki hote jabe. So when I said the vocal part would be this, then it also came in a very short time actually. And these, I want to emphasize that the reason you listen to a lot of music, and the reason you even if you do not play cover but you want to pick up covers, is আমাদের জন্য had been absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, references come so fast in the mind, because now I'll tell you how it, when I said the voice, I had a clear picture, Earth, Wind and Fire, and even Kool and the Gang, even Average White Band, how they cross their voices, not just a harmony, then you have the add-ons and etc. So we discussed when we talked about it, let's do something like what Earth, Wind and Fire does.
Because it has that layering. একটা এখানে থাকছে, একটা উপরে যাচ্ছে, একটা
somebody is holding it, the other is crossing it, you know that. So it came and did it fit into the song? Worked.
It still works. So মানে
live এ করতে ফাটে আর কি.
Well, we're going all over the place, obviously, because I consider myself a very big Miles fan. So
Thank you.
We'll go a bit deeper into the catalog. But before I start, and I haven't said this to you. This is something that my mom has brought in the catalog. I don't know if you have ever seen this.
Oh my God. Oh wow, yeah.
And I thought this will be a great surprise to actually show you.
Of course.
And if you wouldn't mind writing or signing this for me, because obviously uncle is not here. But it'll mean a lot for me having.
I don't know what I'll write, man.
Whatever you want to write. So the unsolicited reaction was caught on camera.
This was a surprise. Happy listening to one of the greatest. He was one of the greatest, actually.
He was. He indeed was.
I wish we had him more, but as we grew up, what we learned was amazing. It's like he's a giant. Even in India, they consider him as one of the very rare ones.
And because we went back to...
But can I have a copy of this?
I'll have to ask my mom. But because we've just had a quick look into Uncle's one of very many, what a distinguished career he had. I think something that one of my good friends Rahi Bhai also asked me, ask him about. Obviously, you get asked a lot about your upbringing and the music that was played. But I want to ask, how did you see, or how did you feel trying to fit into that circle of great musicians in the family when you were getting interested in music? Like where did you fit yourself? Like or was there anything?
The best part of my parents was that obviously when it's your Baba Ma, it's like, oh, he's my father, he's my mother. And when you're young, it's just like that. So we have been witness to some great moments between my mother and father. But how did I fit in was, I think me, Shaf, we were বড় ভাইও ভালো গান গাইতে পারতো, but he was not really into the music as we were. I think the greatness about them was their open mind, and they never let us feel যাও তুমি এটা একটা ডিগ্রেডিং জিনিস, এত ইন্টারেস্ট কেন এইসবে, it's not the right path, এসব না. They were said you need to learn something before you do. এটা একটা ছিল, তো চলো whatever you do then do it right. And they were the বাবাকে তো বেশি দিন পাই নাই when we got into. My mother was the best critic and the best who appreciated. And তা হাসলে গালে টোল পড়তো, খাবার টেবিলে মিউজিক নিয়ে যখন কথা হইতো তখন she went to this she went to the grocery store or bazaar somewhere, and the days everybody says ওই যে মাইলস এর মা যাচ্ছে এটা বলছে যখন she came and খাবারটা জানিস আজকে কি হয়েছে আমি গেছিলাম কিনতে, আমাকে বললো মাইলস এর মা. I felt really good. And she had a pick of songs that she liked and everything.
What was her pick of songs?
The answer to your question is that they were broad-minded, like the greats are. So she bought my guitar first. My father, when I was 15, he had few interactions because we were so below the money. We had no idea who he was. He had the perfect pitch and all that. Someday I was তখন আমি কিছু বাড়াইতে পারতাম না. I was trying to hold the chord, and from the other room he said, no, your note is going to be that. And I said, how does he know? Now I know why does he know. When what note I was playing wrong and what I should hold. Much later he asked a couple of questions and he saw that I am absolutely a murkho, so he stopped asking any questions.
You mentioned your ma had a couple of pick of the songs. Which songs did she like?
She loved, of course, Prothom Moto, Din Gelo Abar Din Fire Elo, and Chattarai, yes. She liked Priotoma.
Acha? Prothom Premer Moto and Din Gelo had a bit of the similar kind of playing from your end. And Prothom Premer Moto, obviously, it is a fantastic piece of music jeta you play, and thank you for that. But if I go down to a more equipment angle for Prothom Premer Moto, what guitar, it sounds like a neck pickup, but what guitar did you use? What was your signal path, or what was available? Like, if you could,
if I can disclose how I did. No, our like we were then, our experience was pretty different than what was going on, because if you compare Protishruti with our albums at that time, it was a different path altogether.
Very different path.
Its production path was also very different. And must give credit to our friend Mishal, who was back from London. He had good ideas. He had experience of being attached in a studio abroad. We combined both. So, like for example, Prothom Prem, Chef said, the moment I heard the song, I knew what it's going to be. And it was Charlie Bird, for example. Something of that, it has to be taken. So I was again Prothom Bangali Musalman who held Marshall JCM 800. That was the only amp, Marshall amp in Dhaka city, and everybody was in awe. So I brought that whole amp into the studio, and Mishal was right at it. Anybody else could have had a different idea, but ওইখানে ওই সিঙ্কটা খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট হয়, বিকজ হি ওয়াজ রাইট ইন দেয়ার। তো এটারে কিন্তু সাইজ করতে হবে মানে। সো আই হ্যাড দ্য ক্লিন JCM 800 and Mishal went with the mic. So বলিস কোন জায়গাটা সুইট হচ্ছে। So there was one spot said hang on, then he played that, but Marshall being Marshall, it was still a little harsh. So মানে এই ইন্টারাকশন গুলো ইজ ইনভ্যালুয়েবল অ্যাকচুয়ালি। তো উই উড কাম ব্যাক, হি অ্যান্ড মি লিসনিং, তো একটু হার্শ আছে না, হ্যাঁ হার্ড, কি করা যায়, এক কাজ করি, হোয়াট, আবার বাজা। তো হোয়াট দিস টাইম হোয়াট উই ডিড ওয়াজ টেক ওয়ান ফ্রম দ্য অ্যাম্প, টেক ওয়ান ফ্রম দ্য বোর্ড ডিরেক্ট, and then we merged the two. And the tone was obviously a little less brighter than it originally was, and just played it.
চাত্তারের পিছনে যে কম্পিং পার্টটা চলে, যে ক্লিনটা, দ্যাট সাউন্ডস লাইক আ বোর্ড ডাইরেক্ট ক্লিন, মানে ভেরি,
না আমার সব অ্যাম্প এন্ড বোর্ড, অ্যাম্প এন্ড দুইটা মিক্স করা, and then whatever fit goes in there. তো অ্যাম্পটাকে পরে করতাম কি যে একেবারে ক্লিন যেটা, সো দ্যাট ইট স্পার্কলড। মার্শাল এই 800টা হ্যাড অ্যান অ্যাটিটিউড অফ ওই গেইন স্টেজটা খুব মানে ইট উড ক্যাচ আপ ভেরি ফাস্ট, সো এটাকে একটু ডায়ালড আউট করে, সো দ্যাট হেল্পড টু হ্যাভ দ্যাট স্পার্কল অ্যান্ড দ্য বোর্ড মেশড ইট আপ।
It's interesting. I think every kid or everyone who plays a Marshall thinks J Marshall is the overdrive amp, but Marshall clean tone is probably one of the very, very beautiful clean tones. If you can dial it,
you got to dial it.
And a dialing of tone, obviously you mentioned Chambeli, You mentioned the hard yards that made you grow through music. How is your approach to dialing in of a tone currently? We'll go back to the album notes later on, but currently, how do you come up with a tone? Like, what is your approach?
Some of the things I did was always, I later found out to be right. One of which was in 1979, 78, 77, you didn't have any reference. You had to read books. So we were that enthusiastic. I personally went to British Council and I just learned about the amp, the tube amp, for example. Then using Storms, I had some idea by then what it's going to be. Then I read articles, many articles, because I used to have the Monitor magazine that PV used to bring out, and also the Guitar Player magazine. So Guitar Player magazine said of these interviews with from Carlos Santana to Blackmore to everybody, how they would. So those reading helped me to understand what happens what. So when I had the Marshall, before that we were using tomatoes like Roland Cube Gula. So Cube would just bring out the sound, it had no character. Marshall came out with a character. So I knew by that time how to do what with the basic my guitar versus the amp. That was very important. Then the Storms came in, which was very limited really, but another friend of mine really gave me some unique ones because he used to live in London, Harold Rashid, great friend. He gave. So some of my Storms were not found in Dhaka at all. So I knew the sound I want, distortion, clean, whatever, how to handle the amplifier. That's very, you'll have to learn to handle your equipment that you're using.
And there's no fast track.
Then there is the pods in the guitar and the selector switch. For example, to both the for example, Prothom Premer I use the neck pickup, but Din Gelo I use the middle pickup. So you'll have a very lighter, sparkly.
Din Gelo has a bite. It comes through. That is very interesting. I was
using the tone, using the volume, those things matter a lot.
And what guitar did you use for
Fender Strat 62. Only one piece. Honestly, but that was it.
Then why were you standing with a random red guitar in the cover? Like, what guitar was that?
No, that was like me, eccentric একটা কি ভাব একটু হাইব্রিড ভাব আছে না for nothing ওই লাল গিটারটা নিয়ে দাঁড়িয়েছে actually it should have been the Strat আর লাল গিটারটা only for একটু elated feel করলাম এরকম একটা চোখা etc. But ওইটা আমি নিছিলামই somebody brought in আমি একটু ইউজ করি ঠিক আছে করেন হরবল একটা গিটার
What was it? Was it a Hamin or
Simer or something? আচ্ছা Hamin হলো তো একটা কাজের তারপরে ওইটা ইউজ করতাম ব্লুজ ফর ইউ বাজাইতে গিয়া তখন এটা ভাবলাম যে অ্যালবাম কভারে অনেক দেখি এরকম ইট ফিটস ইন আর এটা ওই জন্যই
প্রতিশ্রুতি is a very frequency wise, mixing and mastering was very balanced. খুব সুন্দরভাবে ব্যালেন্স করা ছিল। দ্য বেজ সাধারণত আমরা ওই এরার বাংলাদেশি আউটপুটগুলোতে বেজটা খুব ডিফাইন্ড পাই না। Obviously Shafin Bhai was always, attention to detail was always max, but would this be something that Mishal Bhai should be given credit for, the way he got or set the bass in the mix? Because খুব সুন্দর
বাঙালি এতে আসতে হবে বললাম না, but no, again Mishal's idea তো বটেই, but how Shaf was good at his details to his work. but he was not a technically ওই জায়গাটায় সে ছিল না. I was highly technical in that sense, so we needed a compressor to control the bass, that floating low that was going around in the recordings at that time. I had to get out of it because the notes has to come out. So ki hoise? Because I had the only multi-FX processor, I said, hey, forget it. Let's just put the bass into my processor. So put the bass, dialed in the compressor, and everything spot on.
কি বেস ইউজ করছিলেন উনি ফর প্রতিশ্রুতি?
ও প্রতিশ্রুতিতে ছিল যে এই কাটা
ও স্টাইনবার্গার?
No, Steiner copy, but chord or something.
Oh, acha, acha.
There was a band that used to play in the club circuit in Dhaka. So the bass player was a woman. So this lady had the bass. So when she was leaving, said, "Why don't you sell your bass?" So the bass. So suddenly Bangladesh saw neck kata ekta guitar. You know, like Chattara jokon BTV to Hari, dekso bass guitar. You know that kind of. He used it for quite a while actually.
Yeah, it had that Steinberger feel. I'll take you.
That's তাতে কি হচ্ছে যেমন for ওই জায়গাটা we brought the chorus in because আমার multi-FX ছিল তো এই জায়গাগুলো কোরাসটাকে আমি ইন করছি, আমরা ডিসকাস করেছি কোরাস মেরে দিই because a lot of this jazz rock musicians use the chorus.
I'll take you back to your Chambeli days and ask you a question now. So Chambeli, obviously we know of you and Miles and Feedback. You are playing a lot. On the other side of the country, we had Hotel Agrabah, where Souls and the Chittagong contingent were playing. Obviously, kind of same setting, but if I ask you to think about it now, what were the differences between the bands like you and Feedback, who was Dhaka based, playing in Chambeli, versus the Chittagonians who were playing in Agrabah to the Chittagonian expat audience? Like, was there any stylistical difference? Was there anything else that you now think about? I find it highly interesting to think about how it might have been.
One thing is very important when you talk about the bands in Bangladesh is that this hotel playing. You'll notice that those bands who played 3 nights, 2 nights a week at the hotel later came out to be the biggest act in Bangladesh. Not just because they played in the hotel, of course, but it allowed a grooming. That came very important later on. একসাথে বাজানোর ব্যালেন্স কি, কতটুক, যেমন চাম্বেলিতে আমরা ভলিউম 1 দিলে এটা লাউড কিনা এরকম একটা কোয়েশ্চেন ছিল. সো এভরিথিং ওয়াজ ইন দ্য হ্যান্ড. অনেকে বলে না লাইক গেট করো, বাট ইয়োর পাম ইজ আ ভেরি ইউজফুল ওয়ান. এইসব জিনিস অল্প ভলিউমে একদম পিন পয়েন্ট, লাইক এভরি নোট ম্যাটার্স, এভরি বাম নোট মানে এভরিবডি ইজ লুকিং অ্যাট ইউ. ওইরকম জায়গায় নাইট আফটার নাইট 2-3 hours বাজানো is like a severe grooming. And then you with the enthusiasm. Chittagong Dhaka difference, I think, it's my personal opinion. I think the difference is, I think the Dhaka was more informed in terms of listening. Listening to oneke avoid kore, but Dhaka, I think both between Feedback and Miles jodi boli, for only to start with, the listening was enormous. Mane, literally, I mean, east to west or whatever you want to say, you know. And let's take like amader seniors jara chilo who took us to, I was asked to join Miles. So Fred, Farid Rashid, Kamal, Larry, Musa, Ishtiaq, not Sheikh Ishtiaq, the other Ishtiaq, Idu, Robin, of course Happy, you cannot imagine their listening. I mean, for example, Farid regularly invited us to his house, would have a nice lunch or a dinner.
You were talking about this the other day.
Yeah. And even martinis and etc. And we just listen to music and actually analyze and discuss. Like Diodato's, Spyro Gyra and all that. Even Return to Forever. So there was severe listening, collection of music and then listening, just listen to it and try and pick it up. I think Chittagong was not listening as much. Seemed to me when we interacted. So a lot of the things, যেমন বাচ্চুর সাথে interaction, kept watch out এরকম, like Carlos Jobim-কে, you know, that kind of thing. That was the difference, I think, elementary. But common factors হচ্ছে all were very talented musicians who could quickly understand and pick it up and learn and sort of get on with it. I mean, I don't know whether you've seen it or not, I have. If you saw Feeling play Dire Straits, it's the best version of Dire Straits you could ever hear. And he was playing fingers. So that was also same.
Original.
And between Fanti and him, when they were doing Once Upon a Time in the West, it was flooring absolutely. My Sultans of Swing to asei, but it was amazing that Agrabad theke eshe, and I had the chance of doing both Feelings' sound and LRB's sound at that time, because I was the only guy who was doing it then. So that happened. LRB quickly picked up on the White Snakes and all of that. Then when they were in Blue Nile, at the start of their career, and right across was the music store, the famous, what's the name was that? Kobir Bhai. Rainbow. Then there was heavy listening and all that. So, what I'm trying to say is that maybe listening at the earliest stage was a little bit of difference, because Dhaka the albums came, everybody heard, and plus our seniors were heavily listeners. I think Chittagong hoyto oto chilo na, whatever, but they picked up, they did their thing, and difference ta jai thakuk, jeta hoyse seta hocche that regular play in the hotel, both in Agrabad and in Intercon, actually created one of the finest bands in Bangladesh actually.
It's interesting. I'll ask. Songwriting perspective, Miles' feedback. Abar Chittagong থেকে যারা আসছে, Souls, LRB. It's a stylistic difference. Stylistic approach to a song. একটু guitar based বেশি Chittagong থেকে. Maybe Dhaka approach was more song oriented, মানে whatever the song needed. ওই যে চাত্তারার ব্যাপারে যখন কথা বলছিলাম, যে no one probably hears যে clean পার্টটা বাজতেছে ভার্সের পিছে. No one thinks about it. If you go and listen to it. So I always felt যে ঢাকার মিউজিকের মধ্যে একটা ফাইনার এলিমেন্ট অফ ডিটেইল ছিল, and I think that is how we can link back to অনেক ভ্যারিড ফর্ম অফ লিসনিং।
অ্যাবসলিউটলি, মানে
তোরও কি মনে হয়?
মানে আমার যেটা মনে হয় যে ওই যে যদি আমরা ঢাকা চিটাগং ওইভাবে ইয়ে করি, ঢাকা হ্যাড দ্য মোর ফাইনার অ্যারেঞ্জমেন্টস এন্ড equipments and sounds, and Chittagong was more rugged and
more gritty.
মানে a dirty sound ছিল, but it was more polished. যদি ওইভাবে সেগ্রিগেট করতে চাই
না, আমি সেগ্রিগেট করতে চাচ্ছি না, মানে I find the stylistic difference too খুব interesting.
Very interesting blend wise, choice wise, arrangement wise.
মানে obviously we are lucky যে আমরা দুইটাই নিতে পারছি, দুইটাই এনজয় করতে পারছি, বিকজ অনেকেই বলে না যে চিটাগং থেকে অনেক মিউজিশিয়ান আসছে, সবসময় মিউজিশিয়ান বেশি আসছে, ঢাকা থেকেও আসছে, কিন্তু ফ্লেভারটা একটু ডিফারেন্ট।
এখানে দুটো জিনিস সিগনিফিকেন্ট। একটা হচ্ছে আমাদের রোলটা আবার ডিফারেন্ট ছিল। ফর এক্সাম্পল উই ওয়ার 3 hour সেট complete English cover band, who first went to India in Bangalore. And we played in India, we just played English cover songs. We played everything. So, for example, we played Highway Star like regularly. So, all that guitar play, everything that the Purple has, the Whitesnake has, the Def Leppard has, the Gary Moore has, is all that guitar play. But when we sat to create songs, there's a lot of complaint যে আপনারা ওই জায়গা থেকে একটু হেভি করলেন না কেন. It was a conscious our decision. Bachchu's concept was different, and I give him credit for that. When he came down, he only wanted to establish the guitar as his way. His and James's thought process was also different than Miles, in the sense that they wanted to drive the band. They are the drivers of the band. And Bachchu was specific that he wants the guitar to play the absolutely front role, nothing but the guitar. Eta chilo tar role. His songs were open. So he could just, for example, in a live, he could play 2-3 additional bars as he wanted. একটু free form ছিল. জেমসেরটাও হয়তো free form ছিল. He took a different approach, ওর playingটাও different ছিল. But that was মানে আমি যে কনটেক্সটে বলতেছি এটা is not as easy as I'm saying now, because তখন খুব ওই কিবোর্ডের ব্যাপারটা চলে আসতো আর কি, মানে একটু but he wanted to break that and bring it, and he did it successfully for what he has done. But এটার পিছনের ওই যেটা বললাম ওদের রাফ এজটা actually basically I think they decided to be what they wanted to do. এটা একটা ব্যাপার. আর একটা হচ্ছে যে শুধু চাইলেই তো হয় না, it has to have a meaning. So ওখানে dedicationটা very important, and I think those who came from Chittagong and went national, you cannot imagine the kind of dedication. Mane, we had seen everything actually. We have seen it, because everybody was interacting. যখনই ঢাকা আসছে, it was Miles. যে কিভাবে how আমাদের rehearsal pad everybody came. Bachchu, for example, he wanted to play what we play instrumentally. For example, all that samba and Stevie Wonder and stuff like that. So he wanted to experience that. So I suppose, can we just jam? So that was his experience. He got exposed to that kind of thing. He came with us to some shows just to see how we do. আমার একটা জিনিস মাথায় রাখতে হবে যে at that time things were very different. We got to know because Farid was there, Kamal was there. These guys were iconic people. So Fred was very organized. So we had like a set list, like what you do, like মানে স্টেজ কোনটা কিভাবে হবে, সবকিছু all was thought of. তো ওগুলো হেল্প করছে, and that carried on to others. So maybe Dhaka has a bit of arrangemented দিক থেকে, feedback arrangemented দিক থেকে. I mean, look at that. For example, Malajari is a national song. National song. So Moshumi, but the best one I like is what is it called? That's an amazing composition actually.
Chichi? Maji?
No.
Early ones naki pore?
Early ones. চোখ ভেজা সাথে সাথে.
আচ্ছা গীতি কবিতা.
Wow.
মানে there are songs where no one listens to any music and it's a song by itself. I get what you mean.
LRB আছে. But I used to tell him যে he would go for something power, and he left out all the beautiful songs. I mean, hardly, man. I mean, I can tell because we shared. Miles and LRB was like, I don't know. I'm সবসময় বলি like এত স্টেজ শেয়ারিং কোথাও হয় নাই, আমার দুইটা ব্যান্ডের মধ্যে হয় নাই. It was like always going after each other on stage.
a very, very healthy
one, yeah.
very healthy competition. And is that something that you think nowadays doesn't happen as much? Healthy learning from another band, going to see another band, trying to understand, trying to learn. Do you see a dearth of that nowadays with
the internet and everything, because they can get it in internet, so নিজেদের মধ্যে কথা কম, and that's a huge negative actually. There's no আর যেটা ছিল আরেকটা হইতেছে যে the instinct, এগুলো হচ্ছে alpha বললে যা হয় আর কি, all alphas. So we are appreciating, but we are at each other's neck as well.
Of course.
So those things were, it's not just appreciation.
No.
Great playing and all that, but it's not like it wasn't like a কি বলা যায়, very subdued kind of thing na. Hey, তুমি heavy বাজা.
No. Obviously, it had the other.
It had that ওই point of view থেকে, hey, great playing, man. You are getting up now, and you want to kill that.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
And that high performing attitude and competition is probably why the industry benefited. Because আমরা একের পর এক এটা করলো, ওটা করলো. And it is not A versus B. It is just from a musical standpoint, I need to top my last one. I need to do better.
So I used to tell him that why are you doing this? You don't sing like Rupali guitar. I hardly hear as many times as I've seen her on stage. Hardly. Then, for example, Shukeri Prithibi. Beautiful song, huh? I never heard it. There are few other songs. You'd always want, like that drive. He wanted to get the people going, but point out there are beautiful songs that he didn't do.
Or he didn't do enough.
No, didn't do enough. Enough আমি enough দেখছি, but I didn't see, really.
Interesting. We'll come back to Bachu Bhai's one. Going back to Protishruti and Shuptobashona and Shanti Nai. Duitari, the solos are, as we were talking, it feels like Japni, you planned the way, and I think you went back and explained because the form that Miles was writing songs, everything had to be structured in a way. Is that something that you still do? When you get a section, you think about আমি কিভাবে করব?
আমি সবসময় সেকশনই পাইছি, and I wanted to add up, যেমন ফিরে দাও রিফটা, that was, I added up যে it actually তখন, and now I think, hey, that was good thinking. তখন তো ওই হেভি রিফ আসে নাই, বাট আই হ্যাড দ্যাট রিফ আইডিয়া। সো সুপ্তবাসনা এভরিথিং ওয়াজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি ওই স্পেসটা পাইতাম, বাট আমি যেটা করতাম সেটা হইতেছে, এখনো করি সেটা হচ্ছে স্পেসের মধ্যে র্যান্ডম বাজাও, অ্যান্ড ইফ ইট ইজ বোরিং নট হ্যাপনিং, তখন টেক আ পজ, মাইন্ডে সেট, মাইন্ড কি বলে, লাইক দ্যাট, অ্যান্ড দেন গো ব্যাক অ্যান্ড করে দু একবার রান করে দেখতাম কি দাঁড়াচ্ছে স্ট্রাকচার, তো যেটা ভালো হয়তো মনে লাগতো তো ওইটাকে তখন ফাইনাল টেকে দিয়ে দিতাম।
আপনি কি আরো ক্রিয়েটিভ ইনপুট নিতেন অন্য কারো কাছ থেকে ফর ইওর সোলোস?
হ্যাঁ, মাঝে মাঝে আমি ভাবলাম এটা বাজাইছি না, তো এটা হচ্ছে না, and we are bunch of such critical people, you cannot imagine. কোনো অ্যাপ্রিসিয়েশন নাই, nobody, খুব ডিফিকাল্ট। তুমি যখন সুপার বেস্ট, তখন এটা ভালো হয়েছে, আদারওয়াইজ ইটস লাইক এভরিবডি ইজ গোয়িং দেয়ার ওয়ে, ঠিক আছে, হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে।
Shuptobashona I find very interesting, and TJ, you've played that song a lot of times. I find it so interesting যে এটা rhythm programmingটা it's not a stock standard rhythm program. প্রথম দিকে কিক ফেলে দেওয়া হচ্ছে, তারপর আনতেছে, তারপর ব্রেক হচ্ছে, উঠতেছে, নামতেছে। How did you come up with, I see Milton Bhai in the cover, who I'll come back to later on, but ওই ড্রাম অ্যারেঞ্জমেন্ট গুলা কিভাবে করা হইতো তখন মানে was it done on the jam pad first and then it was copied or how was it done?
It essentially came from the studios having lack of equipment to take a drum kit. So we realized that production wise এটাকে যদি elevate করতে হয় তাহলে actually acoustic drums হবে না এটা. And right at that time Roland brought out their best ever product. R8. And R8 was such a powerful machine এবং that solved immediately that প্রথম হইতেছে তো you are recording at 8 track তারপরে তুমি 16 track এ গেলা track related একটা problem ছিল. Then the sound related problem ছিল because they don't have the mics, because they don't have the DI, they don't have nothing. So we said no, we're going to do it in R8. এই প্রশ্নটা সবাই করে. It's not Milton who played. It's not that Milton couldn't have played.
No.
Maybe Milton differently would have played, but we simply couldn't take an acoustic drum kit in there.
That is fair.
So we decided to use R8 and the programming. এখানে difference-টা because R8 was such a machine that allowed, if you knew how to, isn't dial in exactly like যার জন্য মানুষ confused হয়েছে whether the drum kit and the drummer, the way velocity থেকে শুরু করে everything. And two of the finest programmer ever in Bangladesh on R8 was Manam and his brother Khayyam. And on the side, Mr. Hamin and some bit of Shafin, also we learned how to do it. যেমন Shuptobashona আমার করা.
ওইটাই Shuptobashona is very
Shuptobashona-টা আমি R8 শিখা তারপরে করছি and then Manam fine tuned it. তারপরে যেমন রিমঝিম বৃষ্টি is completely mine with the brush and all that. And they used to give all the card for all the sound. তুমি যদি রিমঝিমের ব্রাশ প্লেটা দেখো it's so I think
natural.
So anyway, I
natural.
it sounds very natural. Every other drum part that was there was programmed and এত specific ওরকম actually I'm quite sure that you won't get another person to be that.
ওইটাই বলছি that attention to detail of drops ups মানে এত সুন্দর করে করা the drummer's approach by a non-drummer programming is very interesting. How do you find playing that live like Shuptobashona?
Oh, it's মানে parts গুলো তো is already. All I have to do is just fill in and do what I want to do on the fillers only. I can't do much about it. But it's there and it's done.
It feels perfect.
Yeah, that's মানে আমি মাঝে মধ্যে চিন্তা করি যে if I would have recorded it, probably wouldn't have sounded this good.
Interesting. প্রতিশ্রুতি ছেড়ে দিব বাট প্রতিশ্রুতি ছেড়ে দেওয়ার আগে দুইটা ইন্টারেস্টিং অবজারভেশন. একটা হচ্ছে কেন ওরা রাজপথে, এই গানটার ব্যাপারে অবভিয়াসলি এটা শাফিন ভাইয়ের করা ছিল 1991, তার মানে তখন একটা there was some unrest happening. I think it was a topical song. Would that be a fair assumption? A lot of people don't know about this song.
These things surprise you much later. Even it surprised him, and because when he brought in, there was a lot of like a rap kind of chanting in there, and he brought it and we said, "Why the hell you want to do this song? Key message we understand, but to Keno Ora Rajpothe. How are you? So, frankly speaking, sorry, no offense, but rap wasn't the thing that was going very well with us actually at that time. So, Keno, he said, nah, let's do it, karon eta keno dorkar, because this is, the message must go like this. So after some debate we said, okay, so let's go and do it. But yes, it was topical. What was going on then? এখনকার তুলনায় কিছু না, but at that time এর জন্য I think the message was that the violence in politics and people are dying for no reason because this was a subject matter.
But nothing changed. It's almost
nothing changed and everything. But when the album was released and we played in Chittagong, for example, and other places and etc., we have this whole bunch of gun trotters. ওই গানটার বস করেন কিন্তু
কোন গানটা
on my left, I clearly remember. And সব সময় ইউনিভার্সিটি গুলোতে তো একটা লট থাকতো এরকম, and they would come in a huge bunch, right or the left, and they want to hear this song.
Did you play this song live?
Yeah.
Did you ever play this song?
No, he didn't.
No. Going to obviously Prottasha, but Protishruti was done by Dawn Music, the label, or the name that appeared on the...
Yeah, originally Dawn was interested while we were recording there, and they wanted to take the album. We were excited about that, but we quickly had a very bad fallout from there, because Protishruti was an album that spread so much and was accepted by the listeners. So typically যেটা হয় বাংলাদেশের story of completely robbing you of your rewards that you should have, not even 30%, not even 40%, the whole thing is robbed. So we walked out of there. We actually pulled out the album, and Shongita was interested for the second album, so Shongita took the Protishruti
rights as well. Did they republish Protishruti under Shongita banner?
Yeah.
And this is your biggest foray into commercial, working with a commercial label. How was that experience?
I thought, look, Patuatuli played their part in the building up of whatever was the industry then. I would admit that, and we had, the system was naturally created. কিভাবে হবে? They did their part and etc. Some of the times it was not এটা খুব অনেস্ট ছিল না, অনেক ক্ষেত্রে হয়তো অনেস্ট ছিল না, বাট একটা জিনিস ওয়ার্ক করতেছিল। হিস্ট্রি অফ সঙ্গীতা is Samad Electronic turning into Shongita because of Miles. The experience they had Prottasha release is something that Selim to নাই মারা গেছে unfortunately. If he was there, if you asked him, he would tell you. New marketed releases সময়, that crowd, and then but there's a whole lot of story that went. So Samad Electronic approached us for the second album, but it became Shongita while launching the album. So he felt the need for a music company actually, instead of electronic company, which was Samad Electronics. And at the initial stage, somebody was talking to us about the album, and we were thinking that he's the guy. But after some exchanges, we realized he's not the guy. So we said, why are you here? Well, উনি আপনাদের সাথে কেমনে কি করবে কথা বলবে এটা উনি not sure. So he sent us. Nothing wrong with that, মানে not undermining him, but what I'm saying is যে তখন একটা রেসপেক্টেড জায়গা ছিল, বুঝছো, মানে the reason it happened, যেমন বাদল যখন ফার্স্ট অ্যাপ্রোচ করছে মাইলসকে, তখন আমরা ভাবছি যে সে আমার সাথে কথা বলতে আসছে কেন। সো উই ওয়ার লাইক, আমার তো বাংলা গান আমরা করি নাই এখনো, নো বাংলা না, আই ওয়ান্ট দ্য ইংলিশ অ্যালবাম। তো মাইন্ডসেটটা বুঝতে পারতেছে, আই ওয়ান্ট দ্য ইংলিশ, হোয়াট এভার ইউ ডু ইজ হোয়াট আই ওয়ান্ট। Badal has played a very important role.
Massive important part.
Because his mindset was like that, surprisingly, but that was his mindset. And that's why he could do Stepfather, for example. Shongita যখন approach করছে with huge respect. Unfortunately, that respect got lost. এটাতে শুধু তারা দায়ী না, musicianও দায়ী আছে. They were just fine. I will always tell this, because when I first met Paul Bhai, Soundcheck, he wanted Prottasha also. So that was in Azam Babu's studio, Bailey Road. And he had this lot of money that he wanted to invest. He was a very nice man, Puran Dhaka, so his accent and kotha bolay, but he was open. He was like, Amin loite chaitechi, whatever it is. But what did he do? He trusted musician, artist, and gave 2-3 albumer taka in advance. One of the reasons he later on got into trouble, because he didn't get the albums, So somewhere down the line, 10 years period, things went south. বাট তার আগ পর্যন্ত একটা জিনিস কাজ করছিল সঙ্গীতার জন্য এই প্রত্যাশার জন্য উই গট এট দ্যাট টাইম প্রিটি মাচ দ্য ভ্যালিউ মানে তখনকার জন্য অনেক দ্য বিগেস্ট থিং।
তো সঙ্গীতের সাথে আপনারা যখন সাইন আপ করলেন ওয়াজ ইট ফর ওয়ান অ্যালবাম ডিল অর ওয়াজ ইট আ কাপল অফ
অ্যালবাম ওয়াইজ
অ্যালবাম ওয়াইজ
নট 3-4টা অ্যালবাম একসাথে না।
and I'm guessing যে সঙ্গীতার থেকে later down in the line there was no commercial pressure যে এই ধরনের গান হইতে হবে অথবা
no they respected whatever the band or the artist musician was doing then.
That's great because you don't get that from the non-musician.
It changed though later না পরে না ওরম বানান এইসব জিনিসগুলো অ্যাকচুয়ালি অন্যভাবে ডেভেলপ করছে।
Okay. Prottasha আসি প্রত্যাশার how do you for your own self how do you rate the sonic quality of Prottasha and Protishruti? And by sonic quality there's also another thing that I wanted to ask যে তখন তো ক্যাসেট টেপে ডাবল করে করে জিনিসগুলো রাইট করা হতো ক্যাসেট টেপের ফ্রিকোয়েন্সি খুবই একটা ন্যারো জিনিস ছিল সো আপনারা যখন মিক্স মাস্টার করতেন what were you thinking back then যখন আপনারা মিক্স মাস্টার করতেন যে সবকিছু ঠিকভাবে শোনা যাচ্ছে নাকি আমি যেভাবে শুনতে চাচ্ছি মানে what was the process back then?
Everything was a struggle but we used to work under that circumstances and bring it out. Prottasha is the biggest album possibly I'll say but it wasn't in the most ideal recording conditions এবং ওখানে আমাদের ইকুইপমেন্ট ওয়াইজও আমরা সিভিয়ারলি পিছনে ছিলাম একটা ডিআই বক্স ছিল না ফর এক্সাম্পল অ্যান্ড এগেইন কোনো compression নাই কোনো that kind of thing so going to the board had that high output into that and then that we had more challenges in Prottasha recording and then we used to আমরা যেটা জানতাম সেটা we used to take over করে এটা এই করতে হবে এটা এই করতে হবে this is how it will be done যখন মিক্স করতেছি তখন one of the things is again আমাদের বুক পড়া হোক যেমনে হোক একটা ছিল যে ইটস নট নেসেসারিলি সবকিছু একসাথে শুনতে হবে that helped us a lot so things were always clean মানে কোন জায়গায় কোনটা আসবে তারপরে কোন জায়গাটা ভ্যাকিউম হবে কোন জায়গাটা কোন ব্যালেন্সে থাকবে সো আরেকটা জিনিস করতাম আমরা ভার্টিক্যালি স্প্রেড করতাম তখনই করতাম এই ভার্টিক্যাল স্প্রেডিংটা অলসো ক্রিয়েটেড দ্যাট স্পেস ফর দ্য ভয়েসেস এন্ড এটসেট্রা যেমন ড্রামসটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি ফিজিক্যালি যেভাবে দেখো ওটাতে মিক্স করতেছি যখন তখনও ওইভাবেই স্প্রেড করতেছি সেটা একটা দেন অবভিয়াসলি দ্য বেস সবচেয়ে প্রবলেম যেটা ছিল ওইটা তো আমার প্রসেসর দিয়া ওটা হেল্প
প্রত্যাশাতেও সিগন্যাল ওয়াজ সেম ফর প্রত্যাশাতে
সেম দ্যাটস হাউ জাদুর ওই বেসটা এরকম আসছে কারণ ওটা যদি ওপেন ফ্লোট করতে দাও এটা তো থাকতোই না।
আর ডিস্টরশন তখন রেকর্ডিং কি আপনার ওই যে JCM 800 মাইকড আপ
না ওইখানে ওই সুবিধাটাও পাই নাই I had to go from the processor to the board and it was all jit and all that and then I went in there and I dug down the top তারপরে তখন তার ক্যাব ইমুলেশন ছিল না এই যে প্রসেসর তারপরে বোর্ড থেকে কমায় but wasn't happy actually ওইটার সাউন্ডটা not at all happy but worked it out somehow.
So 93 what processor were you using?
Rex 50. That's the only multi again boardta bollam na but it was honestly that was the only multi FX processor in Bangladesh at that time.
তখন আপনি লাইভে আপনার রিগ কি ছিল তখন how
Marshall and Rex 50
and live এর সাউন্ড রিইনফোর্সমেন্টের কথা যদি জিজ্ঞেস করি 1990 সালে বাংলাদেশ how equipped were we from a PA?
We had everything. We had initially nothing to everything. মানে বাংলাদেশের best PA system was with us. এবং we were that free-minded to let everybody use it. কেউ বলে না কিন্তু এখন পর্যন্ত কেউ বাংলাদেশে কেউ এটা বলে নাই how many times LRB had played through my amp, my drum kit, because nobody had that kit. Entire Bambasho 2 দিনের going through everybody is my kit, that is Miles kit, Miles amp, etc. And the FOH যেটা ওই যে electro voice আমরা যেটা আমরা actually we targeted Waves নামে যে ব্যান্ডটা আসছিল, when they decided nah, it's not going to work out here, তখন we jumped on them. So equipment গুলো দিয়ে যাও, we want to buy it. So we mingled with them. They played with us in one show. After that, they were also very wanted to be, like mingle kore kotha. Tokon we bought it. That was the first first PV 60 channel console with a PV 800 CS 800, I think it's called. That was then, and then the EVs. And the 2 tomatoes, but because they brought it from Germany, that was the only pair of actual monitor wedges in Bangladesh. Ekta pair.
That's it.
তখন মনে হয়েছে ওরে বাবা, we did near about Don Miles was solo. Engineering Institute ভাঙতো, যেখানে বাড়িতাম ভাঙতো। তো তোমার ইঞ্জিনিয়ার্স ইনস্টিটিউট, শিশু একাডেমি, এভরিওয়ার ইটস এ ভাঙচুর, বাট দ্য শোজ হ্যাপনিং না, মানে 70-80টা মনে হয় শুধু ওই ইকুইপমেন্ট দিয়ে করছি। অ্যান্ড ইট হ্যাড দ্য রেসপন্স, আই মিন ইলেকট্রো ভয়েসেস, দোজ থিং জার্মানি থেকে আনছিল, তো ইট ওয়াজ ভেরি ইউনিক। খালি কেবলগুলো যদি দেখতাম, মাই গড, মানে রিয়েল প্রপার স্পিকার কেবলস।
এক্সট্রা কয়েলস। নিয়ে তো আসলে তেমন কিছু বলার নাই, everyone knows that album, but one of my highlight songs out of Prottasha is a song called Bhalobesho.
Right.
Which have you played ever Bhalobesho? I don't think I have never seen you play Bhalobesho live. Why is that?
I remember because I like that song as well. So I was telling Shafin that এই গানটা করিস না, মানে why are you leaving this out? করবো, somehow it didn't happen. He brought in another song. What was that other song? Prottasha?
Parina.
যদি জানতাম নামটা কি গানটা? কোন
Parina Bojhatey after you joined Probahote chilo.
That was Probaho.
Probaho, na?
Probaho. Yeah. We recorded that in
Don't
sure?
Yeah.
Don't test me.
যে বাবু ভাই স্টুডিওতে রেকর্ড করছিলাম।
And Bhalobesho is something that I think you should perform, but obviously
I love that song.
Shapa is not here. That album track listing নিয়ে খুব ইন্টারেস্টিং, বিকজ এখানে তো সাইড এ সাইড বির ব্যাপার। সো একটা কোশ্চেন আমি সবসময় জিজ্ঞেস করি যে, ফার্স্ট অফ অল, যেই 12টা গান অ্যালবামে গেছে, ডিড ইউ অ্যাকচুয়ালি হ্যাভ মোর দেন 12 songs and you chose 12, or did you plan যে না এই 12টাই লিখলাম?
Usually 12.
ওই 12
13 হয়তো।
ওই এক্সট্রা সংগুলো কি রয়ে গেছে নাকি they were later reused in some shape or form?
রয়ে গেছে রাফ, ওটা মানে রেকর্ডই করা হয়নি। It's structured. রেকর্ড করা হয়েছে যেমন স্বপ্নভঙ্গের ইংরেজি ভার্সন আছে একটা।
আচ্ছা।
I wrote that English version নাকি।
কই সেটা?
And we recorded it.
কই সেটা?
টেপে।
আছে টেপটা? টেপ প্লেয়ার আছে?
টেপ প্লেয়ার আমার কাছে এখন নাই। But I want to get one.
স্বপ্নভঙ্গের ওই the intro lead. Where did you get that inspiration from? মানে
Many more.
আচ্ছা। This is very interesting because আমি সারা জীবন ভাবছি যে সপ্তভঙ্গর এই introটা came a lot from Brothers in Arms. I don't know why. But hearing him say Vinimor, that also opens up another thing. Shuptobashona introটা it's a beautifully crafted intro. But ওই গানটা যখন বানানো হয়েছিল, did you jam that out? নাকি was it written in the studio?
No, we obviously sat and worked on it. And it was strange, at that time we used to think in that way, so long intro, solo and etc. And then time signatures, then long interlude. All of that, thinking, we together working it and thinking that way. Because how many songs are there? You know that thing, এখন বলা সহজ, but the thing is,
ওই সময় এত চিন্তা করা হয়
you don't think in that way very much. I mean,
memories of Milton Bhai when he was playing with Miles. Obviously he played live mostly back then, and then coming from Milton Bhai to Mahbub Bhai, and that's a very big question as to why Mahbub Bhai. How did that happen? But working with drummers, and I'll come to Tujo in a bit as well, working with Milton Bhai and Mahbub Bhai, I just wanted to get some ideas from you as to the difference.
Miles said one of the other thing that has happened very naturally is having to work with some very good drummers. Kamal was so iconic. He stays in the impression is because I know exactly what we felt when we saw him. And he was a rock and roller throughout, in a way that that defined actually the drummers at that time. And then সেখান থেকে move away, show চলে গেল and etc. Then Milton came. Milton was actually a Miles fan. He was a huge Miles fan from. So obviously he was very interested. He came in, but we quickly realized that he's actually in a way a musician, not just the drummer. I mean, he could play bass, a bit of guitar and all that, and he composed songs and all that. So one thing we noticed is that চারটার যে প্রোগ্রামিংটা করছিলাম was particularly চারটারা গানটাতে, প্রতিশ্রুতির টোটাল তো আছেই, চারটারা গানটাতে তো there is lot of intricacies in there. তো দেখলাম যে শোনার পর he picked it up. So that sort of, we were worried যে এটা কি হবে, so he picked it up right. So he fit in fine because he's a very fine drummer, and because he could relate to the whole composition, so he had that bit of fitting in right.
And their songs translated very well live
at that time.
And then from there over to Mahbub Bhai, who's known as one of the metal rock gods of Bangladesh. How did this happen? Like walk us through this story. Like where
Milton had to leave for UK and we needed a drummer. So we went to see this show. Who said? I think Tipu told me to go. We saw a band called Rockstar. I saw this. The moment we saw him, realized he's different than others. So after some debate, we thought Bangladesh actually drummers orakom nai. We thought maybe this guy can be a good choice. So we approached him. He was a kid, and we were overwhelming for him. You know, that kind of thing. His friend circle didn't like it at all.
Yes, he was from a very different school of music.
Metal থেকে তুমি মাইলস বাজাতে গেলে এরকম there used to be very kind of thing. আর মাহবুব তখন একটা ফ্রি বার্ড driving away with they were a band which covered most of the what band is that, Tujo?
Iron Maiden.
মানে ওখান থেকে we're telling him no.
মানে how did you convince him? Or he didn't need convincing?
He's very intelligent.
আচ্ছা.
And ওই যার একটু ইন্টেলিজেন্স মানে is one genre, but he realized that I think he later tell me that man, he probably realized that hey, I want this is also something I want to know. Because Manan is very straightforward, so are we. If it's not happening, we'll just say it. So he said, no, you're fluctuating tempo. Because he's used to playing all that speed and so everything din gelo abar din fire elo. And we used to feel sorry for him because he's tired. Said, no, don't, you're fluctuating. How? Yeah, this is how. But he picked it up. Then he played the absolute ballads so well.
Yeah. Because I think Prothom is still sonically...
Because
like Bholbo Na Tomake, he's played by him.
এই তো সেদিন ভুলবো না তোমাকে.
Prottasha was the first acoustic drums we used because Mobin was there at Soundgarden.
And the Prothom drum sound is still very nice to hear.
Till today I want to replicate that snare sound that I can't.
And I think you've worked with Mobin Bhai,
Yeah.
and I think it needs a mention of Mobin Bhai.
Yeah.
Give us your observations of Mobin Bhai. I know it's a...
I have been fortunate enough on a few areas that I could identify people. I think I'll be quite frank about it. Because Mobin came as a fan in Engineers Institute, where on our fourth song the gate broke open and there was all this chaos going on. And him and Gazi Shubro were two friends who were kids, just metric they say. But they came, they were the friends, and then obviously because they broke in everything, people বাইরে চলে আসছেন etc. এরকম একটা সিচুয়েশনে ইঞ্জিনিয়ার্সের পিছনে একটা ডোর ছিল যেখানে the musician ওইখানে I was standing on the door when these two kids came. একজনের জিন্স ছেঁড়া আয়রন মেডেন লেখা আর একজনের এটসেট্রা তো can we take a picture with you? I said sure. তখন ওই ক্যামেরা I took it. That day somehow Shubro and Mobin got attached. The Mobin wanted to learn guitar. Said I don't have time, I can't. মানে মাঝে মাঝে so he started. But soon I realized that he had also the interest in sound because he saw the Monitor magazines all stack. He said, can I take them? I said, do you want to talk about sound? Yeah, I'm quite interested. So he said, very soon I realized that he is much beyond that because not only that he finished them, then he brought his own magazines that he started collecting. And he said, Tukun bhai, I'm going through these and this is what it is. Very interesting অনেক কিছু আছে etc. তখন বাংলাদেশে একটাই PA কোম্পানি such and such ছিল, সেটা ছিল ফিডব্যাক মাকসুদ যেটা চালাইতো প্রো সাউন্ড। তো প্রো সাউন্ড একটা হওয়াতে it was a limitation. তো শিহাব বলে একজন ছিল, you must have heard of him. So he was basically a home, see I'm telling you the history, okay, as it is. He's a home singer. He has a keyboard that he plays and he loves to sing, but his house when he brought, he had a project 2 in his house through which he's doing his private shows in the. This is way too much for this room. I mean, he had enthusiasm. Then I saw him hanging around in the shows. Then one day he calls up, আমি একটু কথা বলতে চাই. So he came. He said, আমার তো এটা আছেই, আমি সাউন্ড কোম্পানি করতে চাই। So I knew that there's only one company. I said, of course, you should. It's a huge area, of course. তাহলে কি করব? Then I gave him my ideas, এটা তোমার সাবানা উচিত etc. etc. করে একটা সেটআপ। Said, but আমি তো sound engineer, who will handle it? I said, I'll get you a guy. And I told Mobin that you want to start working on this. Then I told Shihab that Mobin is your guy. So I introduced him. From Mobin, he picked up. So Jeta Hoy, he picked up, so he didn't need Mobin that much. Mobin realized that. So he went out and he joined another guy who's also hanging. সবই হয়েছে আমাদের actually আশেপাশে hangout-এর থেকে. Just hangout-এর থেকে. There's another guy, আমিও দিব এরকম, আমি এটা নিয়ে আসছি, and everybody's competing. So he got Mobin into it. But Mobin on his own, আমার সাথে পরিচয় হয়েছে, that's okay. I encouraged him to get into the sound and all that. But he became one of the finest sound engineers Bangladesh ever had. I mean, he literally had it. একদম স্টুডিওর থেকে বলো, লাইভে বলো, he could dial in and change things.
And this was my observation. Not all sound engineers work on both sides of the coin or work well. Who is good at studio is always good at studio. Who is good at live. But this name always comes up. যে লাইভেও মবিন ভাইকে ছাড়া চলবে না, ইয়েতে রেকর্ডিংও মবিন ভাইকে ছাড়া চলবে।
He made a difference. Very soon he had his own rack. He would come to live, put in his rack, put his sound, done, out rack, out he would go. She was protective about it also.
Of course, you have to have that sense of ownership.
And Shubro went on to become a video director because that also was his interest area. So when we went to MTV India to অনেক কিছু করছি লাইফে, like pushed MTV to include Bangla and then Bangladesh, and then we were the first, I think one of the first ones who recorded Bangla's videos in Mumbai studio for MTV. তো শুভ্রর ইন্টারেস্ট ছিল, আমি টোন ভাই যাবো, সো উই টুক হিম, হি স হাউ ইটস ডান এন্ড এভরিথিং। সো ওখান থেকে পিক করে হি ওয়াজ উইথ আস টু দিল্লি অ্যাজ ওয়েল, ইন ওয়ান অফ দ্য বিগেস্ট শোজ ইন ইন্ডিয়া। ওখান থেকে করে দাও, ইজ আ ভেরি ফেমাস ভিডিও DOP, is it? What's
Director of photography.
Director.
One call out from me from Prothom album, obviously one of my favorite albums, but the song Jibon, I think that is one of your songs as well. And as good as a song it is, it pains me that it doesn't have a guitar solo. It has a massive it has a massive keyboard solo which is fantastically played by Mone Hoy. How did that happen? You come up with a song, distortion everywhere.
I didn't come up with the song. It was Manam's songs. Manam suddenly came with a song যে একটা বাচ্চা জন্মের থেকে শেষ হয়ে যাওয়া পর্যন্ত যে স্টোরিটা কেমনে বলা যায়, and a weird thoughts. আসলে মানে এটা কই থেকে ইয়ে সিটিং এজন্য মানে জন্মায় না, জন্মানোর সময় যেটা ধর্ম, and then he had the lyrics and I went to sing, said এটা মিলতেছে না, মানে এটা কি, মানে না হবে so his song, so he because he had that concept of কিভাবে life I don't know, so he had this long very haunting একটা solo.
And you had a big scream at the very end.
Yeah, he made me do that quite a few times.
But I am guessing ওই গানটাও কখনো খুব একটা লাইভ করা হয় না।
কখনোই করিনি।
আপনার ডিস্টরশন টোন প্রত্যয় অ্যাকচুয়ালি ওয়াজ ভেরি, খুব স্মুথ একটা ডিস্টরশন টোন ছিল, and obviously acoustic drumsটা was very well balanced. But do you remember, was that Soundgarden?
Soundgarden.
That was Soundgarden.
Soundgarden was the only studio that was actually designed and constructed in presence of a Singaporean consultant that Mobin had convinced Dada to have him. It's the only studio in Bangladesh that had an actually proper control room. And that's why anything that recorded here had some sense, because you didn't hear faults. So that was very, very important. Mobin knew why he needed that and all that. But the other thing, by that time I was already using again. I'm the first B. I was using a PV rack mount.
Oh yeah.
And that was Russell Chilo. So he got it from, I think, America or something, and then he wanted to sell it. I got it. That had a pretty good sound, and we used that for quite a while.
ওখানে যেহেতু acoustic drums record করা ছিল, was that recorded to a click?
Everything was on a click.
How hard was?
Because we used the percussion from the machine.
Yes, so it had to line up.
Now
we go to obviously Proash was the singles idea. Now, who came up with an idea of a single record? Was it you?
No, not so much me. I had my situation then, so I wasn't in the thinking process. But Shaf and Manam had this brilliant idea. Single by korte ho, that kind of thing. So people didn't understand the single concept, so they got our idea was single, but the tape only was 60 minutes.
So which
Songita said no point, because I have 60-minute tape. So তাইলে আমরা গানটা করলাম, তো এখন কি হবে এটা? Said boss, এক পিঠে একটা গান থাকুক, ওটা রিপিট। এছাড়া কোনো উপায় ছিল না। We wanted to call it single. We wanted to charge less, and obviously ওরকম, but ওটা সঙ্গীতা পারলো না, because 60-minute tape. And then তারপরে যেটা হইলো সেটা হচ্ছে যে সঙ্গীতা যেহেতু whatever audio we are bringing out had a the commercial aspect, said na 60 থাক, 45 না 60 পারলো। But the guys who bought it said, এটা কি করলেন? আমি কিনলাম অ্যালবাম,
I bought it
35 টাকা,
and then
প্রতারণা।
এটা কি প্রতারণা করলেন?
একটা song, what is happening? It was a very, very interesting, because I think the idea would have made sense if it was like a 10-minute tape.
Correct.
অথবা একটা ছোট এলপি, হোয়াটএভার, তখন তো আর এলপি নাই। বাট নর্মালি আমি যেটা এক্সপেক্ট করছিলাম যে বিদেশে যখন সিঙ্গল করে, ইটস আ সিঙ্গল লিডিং আপ টু অ্যান অ্যালবাম, সো ওই সিঙ্গলটা আবার অ্যালবামে থাকে। কিন্তু তোমার আশা আর নীল নয়ন কিন্তু ডিড নট মেক ইট ইনটু অ্যান অ্যালবাম, সো দ্যাট ওয়াজ ভেরি ইন্টারেস্টিং। বাট এনি অবজারভেশনস অন ইয়োর প্লেইং অন Tomar Asha and Neel Noyon? Did you use an Allen string in Neel Noyon, or was it a steel string?
Ucha. I got released from the hospital actually. I was not well. Meanwhile, these two guys said, "Ei duita gan chharte hobe." The hospital said, "You rest out 7 days at least. Don't go out. Don't do anything." And they're saying, "Eta korte hobe." Said, man, at time paila na mane I was weak actually. I was recovering. করতে হবে, ওকে ফাইনাল গেলাম। ইয়াং কি করতে হবে, মানাম সুন্দর করে গুছিয়ে আনছে। কি হয়েছে, নীল নয়ন এটা এইরকম হবে, ওইরকম অনেক ব্র্যান্ড। ওকে, তো স্টুডিওতে বসেই পুরো জিনিসটা তুলছি, তোলার পর একটা সোলো, বুঝছিস না, এখানে এরকম করে একটা সোলো হয়। গিটার একটা দিছে যেটা মানে আঙ্গুল কাইটে, মানে স্ট্রিং যদি ফ্রেটের এতখানি উপরে থাকে তাহলে যেটা হয় ওই রকম। So whatever solo you're hearing on Neel Noyon, for example, is on that high action, high tension, therefore ওটার মধ্যে বাজাও। আর ওটা যেটা বাজবে মানে ওই জায়গাটা এরকম হলে হইতো না। So I remember my name, this part was just all tracks, and তোমার আশা ছিল একটু আমরা ক্লাব টাইপ করতে চাইছিলাম তোমার আশাটা।
Do you ever feel like you want to re-record any of those material? No, not really.
If you are, my point of view would be that sonically now things are so much better. I wish we could record the same but with this sound.
I'm guessing আপনার master tapes গুলো এখন আর নাই।
Some of them are not there.
Because the whole remastering thing never took off, because I'm guessing most of the Bangladeshi bands lost or do not have the master tapes. Coming into Probaho and enter two new members. One is definitely a drummer. What was your thought process of adding another guitar player? Why did you feel the need for it?
We felt the need because when we worked with the songs, for example, in the studio, we worked for the song, whatever it was needed. So এরকম ছিল যে গানের ভিতরে এক অংশ ছিল, most of the times that beat to color that যেসব পার্টগুলো গানের ভিতরে ছিল, যেগুলো while I'm singing it's not possible, ওইগুলোকে চিন্তা করে we thought যে it would be okay to have another guitar player who can just fill this part in. There was a basic idea and concept. That's how Jewel got in. Fuad told me about him. Fuad Rabbi.
Yes.
He brought him in actually. Kid excited. He knows all my. He was a very big Miles fan as well. And এর কাহিনী তো different. Drummer, Mr. Drama.
আসতেছি ওইদিকে. Did your guitar playing change now that you had a second guitar player? মানে your approach to আপনার আগের 3টা অ্যালবাম অথবা আগের 4টা অ্যালবাম, you were the sole guitar player, আপনার একটা ডিউটি ছিল. Now নতুন গিটার প্লেয়ার আসার পর what was your thinking process of যে where do I sit, where does he sit, মানে ওই ব্যাপারটা নিয়ে চিন্তার?
I think throughout in music I had been very open. যার জন্য আমার সাথে a lot of these kids could mix, could understand, because like Warface after show on the pad থেকে, they used to hang around with us. It was the same once he was in. It was up to the band that how where he's fitting in, where am I, and I never thought that should be any issue.
No.
And I did my part the way I do, and he was used the way band thought that. এর মধ্যে কিছু back and forth হয়েছে যেটা হয়তো at that time did not go well with the fans. সেটা যে ক্রিয়েটিভ প্রসেসে ওই সং রিলেটেড ম্যাটার্স গুলো খুব এগুলো we went as we went on, we also had the feedback, because obviously when it happened then the feedback came. মানে যেটা একটা খুব স্ট্রং মেসেজ ছিল সেটা হইতেছে আমাদের এই তিনজনের বাইরে কাউকে মানে সং ওয়াইজ দেখতে চায় না, মানে ওয়েদার তার কালারও চেঞ্জ হইতে দিবে না, দেখতে হচ্ছে মানে এরকম একটা ব্যাপার, মানে যে why, that kind of thing. এটা কিন্তু ভেরি এভিডেন্ট দ্যাট যেভাবে তারা একসেপ্ট করে সেটাই থাকতে হবে, মানে ওটার বাইরে যাওয়াটা খুব ডিফিকাল্ট আছে আর কি.
এই প্রেসারটা কি you guys were feeling নাকি or now you knew about it but you didn't let it worry you?
We didn't fully realize it until it happened. আছে কিছু মানে once you are পপুলারিটির একটা কস্ট আছে, বেশ বড় রকমের কস্ট আছে.
Now coming to your new drummer, obviously Mahbub bhai went away for his studies. What happened then? Like, what were you looking for? What was on offer? And how did you end up with?
Mahbub went for studies abroad. We knew it, so he's going. But at the same time, we were also going for a 96 tour. That's the first band's tour in USA as a full band. We were অভিশ্রুতিতে যখন রেকর্ড করতেছিলাম তখন ওর নামটা কি ইমনকে আমি বাইদা ভাই বলছিলাম, এই ডু ইউ নো এনিথিং অ্যাবাউট ড্রামার দ্যাট উই মে নিড. তখন সেকেন্ডের রেকর্ডিংয়ে সে বলছিল একজন আছে আই ক্যান থিঙ্ক অফ, বাট হি ইজ ইন অ্যানাদার ব্যান্ড, মেবি হি ইজ ফ্রি, মেবি হি ইজ নট, হোয়াটএভার. পরে বোধহয় হি অলসো ওইটার পরে কানেক্ট হয়েছে বোধহয় মানামের সাথে, এরকম কিছু একটা হয়েছে. দেন উই had him in the farm gate, but by that time the tour was finalized. So poor guy, we gave him the whole bloody
Catalog.
repertoire and then told him that here is the studio and here is the songs, pick it up. And unfortunately there was another guitar player at that time before Joel.
Yeah.
I was interested. That was, his name was what?
Rubayat.
Rubayat. So these two had a wonderful time together.
We had the key to the place and the equipment and no one's there.
So Rubu had his way of working and he had his way of working. That's another story he can tell better. But he did that and he did a very good thing.
So it was just one referral and that's it. You were not shopping around.
No.
What did it feel for you? Like, তুমি যখন ফেরত আসছো, obviously you knew about Miles.
Yeah, and I saw Miles in 92 when I came back in Pamba concert, and they were the last band. And I saw the entire day. And that day, actually, I have no hesitation saying this. Tokon Bhai guitar sounded very different.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, আমি তখন আসছি from a circuit. I used to play in underground pubs back in Montreal. Right? So we were into a lot of rock and stuff, but hey, after the entire day, there's this band that came up, and that was, they played different, they sounded different, and I'm like, I haven't heard
Pulse stayed
this
different,
guitars out the entire day, and of course Milton Bhai was there.
Oh, so it was Milton Bhai.
Yeah, and Amar actually Milton Bhai dad and my dad were friends, so our first impression of a drum kit was Milton Bhai and a pearl kit. So that image stayed in me. So basically যেটা হয়েছিল যে I was recording in Shruti with two bands and I actually hired the Miles yellow kit. That's when I got to play that. And ওখান থেকে Iman Bhai just told me one day যে call up, and I thought something must have happened in the studio. So আমি খুব ভয় ভয় ফোন দিয়েছিলাম. Then I went to the pad, met Tokon Bhai and Manan Bhai. And the very first day, they gave me 3 tapes and a pair of keys. And I walked into the pad, and there was this beautiful brand new blue gate, massive, something you dream of. And আমার কথা হচ্ছে যে তুলি আর না তুলি, they are away for 3 months. I'll get to play this kit for 3 months, anytime I want to. They'll be fine. So তারপরে it just happened. They came back, we played.
He just fit in perfect.
And
when we came back and we started, he was right there.
He was ready. And from a rhythmic perspective, you played with Milton Bhai, Mahbub Bhai, Turjo. What are the things that you notice when you play with different drummers? And this is for aspiring people who are jamming with different people. Do you have to listen to what he brings to the table so that, what is the approach of trying to sync with a drummer?
Each drummer has his own way of playing, but first difference you see between the drummers is their motor skillta, because ek ekjoner ek ek rokom. So that is a wonderful thing, because same song, but we jeta DNA te ase, that's different. Even the heat is not same, So that is there. Turjo was obviously the intimidate. We never had this. I think we were not, because I think we learned it from Farid and Kamal, the way they were so friendly with us. So it, I think, carried with the Miles, with the members who were really very, very young at that time. But we were never like Bodo Bhai, Choto Bhai. It was, we were freely mixing with them. But he was intimidated by us for some time, and then he gelled in. Once he got fully in, then he started to put in his things and etc. Still, like Miles, the way Miles work, even যেহেতু আমাদের তিনজনের মধ্যেও ওই যে ওই সবসময় হচ্ছে না এটা কি দরকার, না ওটা কি দরকার, আচ্ছা এটা না ঠিক আছে ওইটা ঠিক আছে, তোর ক্ষেত্রেও তাই হয়েছে, না 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 এটা কর, এটাও না এটা ওরকম. And then he would have to work something out and say, eta. There's so many nitty gritties and etc. So, সব কিছুকে adapt করেই ও actually fully like now he's holding the Miles sound completely, and he's just very good drummer. and like all of us, he is also learning every day.
তোমার জন্য how difficult, I wouldn't use the word difficult, how different was it?
Very different, because I used to play like I was playing for Jolly Rogers, so like underground heavy metal band, and before then I used to play like 80s rock and stuff like that. But here, after I joined, first of all I had to pick up very different styles of music, because all the songs were very different from each other, and that was one thing I enjoyed, because আমি এরকম জিনিস আগে বাজাই নাই বা আমাকে বাজাতে হয়নি. So that was so
প্রথমবারই মাইলস তাই বলে
না মানে তখন যেটা হয়েছিল যে I was struggling a little bit to figure out আচ্ছা কি হচ্ছে, তখন a lot of figuring out চলতেছিল আর কি, tape listening, rewind forward করতে করতে tape বাদ করে ফেলতেছি, but gotta figure out কি হইতেছে, because I wasn't really into those stuff, but যেহেতু I used to listen to a lot of music thanks to my father from একদম early age. I'm like, এটা তো শুনছি ছোটবেলায়, so it was pretty much like that. But first thing for me was গানগুলো ঠিক মতো বাজাতে হবে, যেভাবে আছে সেভাবে বাজাতে হবে, কোনো গ্যাঞ্জাম করা যাবে না. So once that was established, তারপরে I started literally মানে চুরি করা আছে না,
ওটা পরের
keeping
ক্রিয়েটিভ
everything. Okay.
How did you feel মানে when you joined Miles was at the peak, তখন সাথে LRB আছে, feelings আছে, you are going up on stage playing either before or after LRB, a million eyeballs at you.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that?
Oh, মানে stage fright was, I was like, I used to shake. মানে আমার মনে আছে একবার, I think by that time it's been like 7-8 years, and কোন একটা স্টেজে উঠবো, I'm standing ahead, তখন ভাই আমার পিছনে, and he just bumped my knee with his guitar neck and says, I said, what happened? কাঁপতেছে কেন? বললাম ভাই দুইটা গান তারপর ঠিক হয়ে যাবে. But এটা অনেক বছর হয়েছে, because ওই ব্যাপারটা ছিল যে hey, big stage, big band, because when I joined I was a 20-year-old kid with these giants, 3 giants, and I'm not getting a lot of things that's going on, it's just flying over my head. So ওই টাইমটা was very মানে gotta do the thing right,
And how was it for you looking at LRB, like Riyad Bhai play or Fanti Bhai play? Did you mix a lot? Did you take a lot of things from?
Oh yes. ওই সময় না এটা ছিল, everyone used to talk to each other.
That's what you were saying.
যেটা এখন আর নাই. So তখন অনেক Riyad and I, we were like friends and everything, and we used to discuss a lot of things. এটা কি করবো, এটা কেন করবো, so এগুলা হইতো, and that helped a lot.
আর প্রবাহর রেকর্ডিং এর সময় did you have much input or so the first album that when you joined Piyashi Mon and stuff,
because by that time অনেক গানই ready
হয়ে গেছিল,
so I think 1 or 2 I had to play, but I can't remember.
Okay. And then obviously Protidhwani and Protichhobi, the ones that come after. Why didn't you record any acoustic drums later on?
We did.
Probaho is the only one we didn't, somewhat, because again studio just একটা weird একটা studio, একটা সবুজ বাতি জ্বলতো. I couldn't imagine কি করতে we are recording here. I was so frustrated. Some guy who has never heard this music is behind the desk. Right? No, আপনি forward করে এখানে যান, আবার বেশি no, I'm saying chorus এ যান, আপনি chorus বুঝতে পারছেন না কোনটা, that kind of word.
How did that happen? How did you end up there?
I don't know. Manam figured এখানে করা যাবে, something of that sort.
Tone and tail.
Elvis,
Tone,
something কি একটু weird, যে ঘরে উঠতে বারান্দা সিঁড়ি দিয়ে উঠতে, and it was just একটা এর থেকে ছোট একটা রুমে করছি, কিন্তু প্রোডাকশন পিয়াসি মন শুনলে even now I freak out, man. এখান মধ্যে দিয়ে ফুয়াদ আমারে বলতেছিল যে আপনি বাইর করলেন কেমনে এরকম করে, বাট দ্য পয়েন্ট হইতেছে
রাব্বি ভাই
no
বাবু ভাই
ফুয়াদ মুক্তাদি,
আচ্ছা,
ফুয়াদ has a lot of interest in working with us, হয় না এখনো, বাট ওর পয়েন্ট হইতেছে বারংবার পিয়াসি মন শুনছে, he talked about it, যে how the hell, পয়েন্ট হইতেছে ওইটা খুব ফিনিকি নিটিগ্রিটি এসব করলে আর কি we work like that. So
I think we'll slowly try to wrap it up. I've got some quick fire questions for both you and Turjo. Going with, I'll start with Protishruti. Turjo, for you, 2 songs that you like out of Protishruti the most.
One of my very favorite songs is Asha Nirasha. আমি জানি না এটা কেন তখন ভাই কখনো করে না
কেন করে না তখন ভাই?
Dorodia, of course, Dorodia, and yeah, I'll pick this too.
A drummer is speaking on Asha Nirasha. এই দিনও দেখতে হইলো আর 2 guitar solos from that album.
From that album?
Or 2 guitar parts. I wouldn't say solos.
Obviously Shuptobashona. Prothom Premer.
Tapan bhai, same question for you. 2 highlight songs for you from Protishruti.
Din Gelo, abar din fire elo. I think I was happy doing Shanti Nai.
I feel the Shantis should have had Tomar sequels every album.
But of course Chatara Sujana was an amazing song. It was on a different and ওটাকে ধরেই নিছি যে আচ্ছা ওটা তো আছে, you know, something like that. But if we go beyond that, I guess these 2 songs.
And you still would rate your guitar playing on these 2 songs, or would you rate your guitar playing more on any other songs from that album?
No, I think
because
2 parts I was really happy with when it came out. One is Prothom Premer Moto, because I played a lot of those like styles in instrumentals, and I like playing clean. Ajkal eta ব্যবহারই হয় না, but I really love that clean biting. That's one. And Dorodia's solo
was very furious solo.
Furious মানে ওটাছে মানে আমি মানে স্টুডিওতে যারা সবাই অবাক, মানে এত তাড়াতাড়ি এরকম একটা জিনিস হইলো কি করে, আমি নিজেও অবাক মানে এটা কিভাবে হলো, বাট ইট কেম, ইটস লাইক,
because if you think about Dorodia, it has a lot of Iron Maiden in it. A lot of that beat pattern. মানে যেটা শুনলে আমরা Dorodia, but তুমি বাজাও, তুমি দুটোই বাজাইছো. And that solo was furious. It came out of nowhere. Let's go to Prottasha. Prottasha, two call-outs for you. Songs that you are still, so obviously you're proud of all your babies, but
Hridoyhina in a way.
It's very interesting. I was just thinking about Hridoyhina and Noshtotit from Prottasha. Hridoyhina does not actually have any guitars around. It is just a straight. Did you write that in an acoustic guitar, or like how did you write that song?
And Mahmood Khurshid wrote it, Manam tuned it, and they left me all alone in the studio because they had to go abroad, and I didn't have a clue why is the scale changing, you know. So এখানে তিনটা কিন্তু change আছে, তুই দেখে নিস. That was his word, and I went in. I saw that তিনোটাতেই actually the vocal leads the changes too. What made you think in that way? মানে you are not even here. You are saying I'll change. মানে এটা কি voice দেয়া হবে? মানে কি হবে? You haven't played any instrument to transit from here. এটা কি direct না, তোর voice দিয়ে তুই direct দিয়ে দিবি, মানে as if মানে একটা মানে মুখের কথা আর কি. And then he's jumping the scale as well. So I did alone. Tried a few things that way.
তোমার জন্য Turjo for Prottasha?
Prottasha, okay, has to be Hridoyhina and Shanti Chai.
We started off the show with Shanti Chai. The Shanti Chai riff is not like a normal riff. It is just a rhythmic.
It's so fun to play. You know, it's like just
বাজাও এটা.
Yeah.
But Shanti নাইটা মনে হয় খুব একটা বাজানো
কয়েকবার করছিলাম. But saying that Prottasha had one of the Bangla rock musical biggest song is Firiye Dao Amar Prem. Firiye Dao Amar Prem, that's his fully Manam's credit. people do not give value to people who create such like Shei Tumi, like Melai Jaire. Like you cannot imagine how big Firie Daw Amar Prem is. India is like floored. They go nuts. Everybody knows it. You know, I mean, even till now, everyone, everywhere we go. Yesterday we played live. Atypically, you know what happens. Then we were at the backstage and a DJ was playing or something like in between. He's doing a Firie Daw
Mix.
Club version. And people are going who can hear from the. So wherever we play, the kind of reaction we get from all kinds of Duta song that has come out, Prottasha, Neela, and Firie Daw.
Neela has jumped ahead.
Neela is another favorite of mine in another sense. It's Latin. I love Santana. I always loved Santana. I love the Latin music. So we wanted to do this that way. It came out pretty nice, I think.
I think this might be wrong. Something that I have seen with Neela is Neela progressively got more popular.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you'll agree, but I give a lot of this to TJ, because the way you've arranged Neela for live, that probably drives the song to where it is right now.
আমাদের অ্যালবামের অ্যাকচুয়ালি অনেকগুলো সং ন্যাচারালি, মানে if I tell you a story, Firie Daw Amar Prem came out, burst into the scene and captured everybody from a BTV program. And BTV-তে ওই দিন শুট করার জন্য রেডি ছিলাম, পাতা ঝরে যায়, and that goddamn master started flicking. ফুল ঝরে যায় এনো কি আশায়, এই জায়গায় আসলে কি, you know, it's like মানে very good.
So you cannot sing.
একবার টেক ওইখানে আসলেই is flicking. Hey, break. Okay, let's what? Nothing wrong. ঠিক আছে, let's do the second. Third, we see ওখানে গেলি, then we realize the tape has a problem. There is এই গানটা একটা গান তো করতে হবে, এখন কি করবেন? Then we said, কোনটা করা আছে, টেপে কোনটা আছে, বলে ফিরিয়ে দাও, এইটা করি. That was also an Eid program, ঈদের অনুষ্ঠানে. So ফিরিয়ে দাও got inserted, we recorded, we released, and it went widescreen from there. And since then it had been,
obviously we know it's an anthem, it's a Bangla rock anthem.
আর নীলাটা is actually caught up. আমাদের অ্যালবাম যেটা বলতেছিলাম, অ্যালবাম অনেক গান আছে যেগুলা, you see, we are one band who never was with media. We are one band who never, মানে ওই যে লিয়াজ রাখে না, ওসব কিছু ছিল না. So we never touched any television channel. Hey, আমার you know, okay, why not, let's খাতির আছে না একটা ব্যাপার, nothing doing. We still don't do it. We never did it. So a lot of these songs are not exposed. Like আমরা কোনো মিউজিক ভিডিও করি নাই, for example. I mean, ফিরিয়ে দাও আমার প্রেমের কোনো মিউজিক ভিডিও নাই. So এরকম লাইভ একটা স্কেলে আছে. So lot of the songs, তুমি যেটা বললে নীলার থেকে আসতেছি, সেটা হচ্ছে যে এক্সপোজারটা সামনে আনা হয় নাই. যেমন ভুলবো না তোমাকে এমন আকার ধারণ করতে পারে, if we bring ভুলবো না তোমাকে মানে একটু প্রজেক্ট করে আনি, I'm sure it will be a. তো নীলা আমাদের ওইরকম পরবর্তীতে একটা সময় মানুষের কাছে আনা হয়েছিল, মানে just bring it out and put it in the front, and it caught on from there. কিন্তু স্কুল কলেজ এটা সে কালকে স্টেজে উঠছি খালি ওই নীলা 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 চলতেছে.
ফিরিয়ে দেওয়ার কোয়েশ্চেনে মাথায় আসলো যে দিজ আর অল বিগ হিটস, মানে বিগ হিটস, বাট ওয়েন এই গানগুলো যখন লেখা হচ্ছিল, আপনারা যখন শুনলেন ফার্স্ট টাইম, সেকেন্ড টাইম, ডিড ইউ থিঙ্ক these will be hits or what we know as hits?
No, best part of those years, 91, 93, 96, is that we never thought much. We're just creating songs. And there's nothing better than that. I feel that Well, we had multiple albums which are good.
Hmm.
I mean, which are very good actually. So was LRB had multiple albums good. I think James also had. But our arrangements were intricate, our things, this, that and the other. But আমি যেটা বলবো সেটা হলো যে it's a very challenging, difficult task for a creative musician to avoid the fame, the pressure of fame. It is a key burden. You have no goddamn idea. You must be having some idea, but day in day out, it's just like
It plays on your mind.
it's a beautiful thing to have that the songs and such has gone out to so many people, but it's such a pressure because now for us to break away from that and do something else, no, আমি এটা করতে চাই, it's a thinking process আর কি, মানে এটা করবা, এটা তাহলে ওটা কি, and people are always আপনাদের ওই গানটার মতো আর গান হবে না, ওইটার মতো আর হবে না, এইটা করবেন না, ওটা কি এরকম হয়েছিল, ওটা the reason I'm saying এই তিনটা অ্যালবামের ক্ষেত্রে যেটা হচ্ছে সেটা হচ্ছে ফ্রি ফর্ম, ফিরিয়ে দাও প্রেমিয়া, ফিরিয়ে দাও, সো I mean okay, let's do স্বপ্নভঙ্গ, ডাবল টাইম সিগনেচার, এইরকম লং, হ্যাঁ ইটস গুড, চালায় দাও, নো থিঙ্কিং, কি হবে না হবে, ভুলবো না তোমাকে, ইয়া স্ট্রাকচার্ড, বাট ইটস নট লাইক এরা ইন্ট্রোটা না তিরি তিরি রি, ওয়াই বিকজ ইউ ওয়ান্ট টু, হ্যাঁ এরকম একটা কিছু কর যেটা মানে ইউ আর ইন্ট্রোডিউসিং দ্য, ওকে তাহলে এটা, হ্যাঁ এটা এটা,
হ্যাঁ, বলবো না তোমাকে ইন্ট্রোটা, ওই যে সুন্দর ট্রায়ালস নিয়ে যে খেলাটা, it's a beautiful piece of intro. Going back to Prottasha, your two call-outs.
Frustration.
That was Prottai.
That was Prottai. Okay. Wait. Ganja mai jeteche.
But frustration.
Probaho, right?
Prottasha.
Prottasha.
ফিরিয়ে দাও।
Yeah. প্রত্যাশাতে তো স্বপ্নভঙ্গ।
স্বপ্নভঙ্গ।
Yeah. And has to be হৃদয়হীনা।
Oh, হৃদয়হীনা বলছি। And প্রত্যয়তে you said frustration. Is it because of Mahbub?
I don't know, it's because of the double bass triple Turkey. But it has a very interesting thing. Okay, odd time signatures and the guitar intro into the song, driving into it. That was awesome.
And which was very interesting for such a rock song. The bass was very groovy.
Yeah,
it had a line.
Yeah.
Saധാരണ rock songs don't have
Yeah.
bass lines, but you played I think Frustration is probably the only song where you probably cut loose the most.
That was one open song.
And এটা কি jam pad এ লেখা নাকি মানে
না একদম
ওখানে
জাস্ট একটু দেখে নেওয়া, তারপর দিস ছেড়ে
and obviously আপনাকে লাইভে অনেক ওয়া বাজাতে দেখা যায়, কিন্তু from a recording point of view I think Frustration is where you played most of the ওয়া. ওই ইন্সপিরেশনটা কি, was it a slash infused in inspiration নাকি was it মানে do you remember those
the first wah that really was an opener was a Jeff Beck, and a lot of people use wah, but I started when my famous wife gave me one gift that was an amazing gift. She came from New York and she said, I got a gift for you. So what? I got the Steve Vai Bad Horsey Wah. Wow. Okay, give it. This is যখন I realized one thing. Damn, that wah is just not a wah. Two things are very unique about it. একটা হচ্ছে এটার কোনো টিপাটিপি নাই. It's like you press it, it's wah. ছাইড়া দাও, it's normal, which is lifesaver. What this? You know, ছাইড়া দাও, lifesaver. So back to your original sound. And then there's the second function, which is the contour, like that got me, because then what was happening is that just from that thing I could just change the tone of the guitar as I want. A duller, a brighter, some sort of ortho we war ব্যাপারটা আসে, but not like wow, you're not like full on. But contour is very, very effective because it changes the tone and adds a bit of sustain and all that. That's why I started using, as you were saying, using that more, because it does create a different aspect altogether.
And Prottar cover you were seen with a semi-hollow. But what were you actually recording with most of the songs?
মানে ওইটা খামাখা ছবি তোলার জন্য কিছু লাগে।
আপনি একবার লাল গিটার এখানে না বাজালেন।
But I actually again Bengali Musliman who first had the JM77 92 তে in Bangladesh. ওইটা দেখে Ibanez should definitely sponsor me, because ওইটা দেখে all the I think all other cities that came in Bangladesh seeing that. A wonderful piece of instrument, no doubt, because মানে বলে ওইটা বাজাই কেন, but the thing is ওইটা বাজানো Miles' সাউন্ডের সাথে with the 5 position selector and all that thing, that like the bridge pickups or the
it just fits.
It really fit well. The fret, the play, only thing on angulo onek lomba, so that's one thing. But other than that, it's a fantastic piece of. এবং আমার 92 এর কেনা যেটা, এটা যদি হাতে নাও মনে হবে যে it's like yesterday I got it. So well set. So ওইটা না ঝুলায় কেন, এটা জোড়াটাও আমিও জানি না, বাট খামাকা।
But প্রত্যয়তে তো you didn't play jam. জেমটা আসছিল মানে did you play jala and stuff?
না প্রত্যাশা থেকেই তো জেম ব্যবহার শুরু করছি। তো প্রত্যয়ের ফ্রাস্ট্রেশন সব
জেমই করে। হ্যাঁ 2 call outs for you from a guitar perspective from Prothom. Beautiful pickup. Tumi nai, there's a lot of weird stuff that is happening here and there. And it sound মানে এটা this cannot have happened in the studio. মানে that sounded like a jammed out piece of music. মানে how was it made?
Studio স্টার্ট করব কি তো করতে দেখি এটা ভালো লাগে, সো এটা
ওর মধ্যখানের রোলটা যেখানে উল্টায় যায়, মানে how মানে did you ever talk to Mahbub bhai, like what happened there? মানে
no, I never had a conversation with him about this, because মানে it's a crazy change.
মানে it flows, it just works, কিন্তু it makes no sense. It works. আপনার লিড এখন জ্যাম বলাতে it makes sense যে it was a very prominent tone which came out, which I feel later down, and please don't take any disrespect out of this, I think when the second guitar came in, slowly some of these intricate things I thought were a bit lesser, but maybe because it was the song didn't need that. যেমন শেষ ঠিকানা is one of my favorite songs, a lot of people's favorite songs, but শেষ ঠিকানার মতো কিন্তু প্রত্যাশা, প্রতিশ্রুতি, প্রত্যয়তে ওরকম স্ট্রেট ahead rock song আপনি ম্যাক্সিমামই আমি দেখেছি যে আপনার সোলোগুলা it is modulating to a different key then coming back. শেষ ঠিকানা হচ্ছে আমার একটা গান যেটা is just you know what is going to happen, it happens and you still feel good about it. Would that be a fair assumption, do you think?
In a way, yeah. মানে অনেকের কাছে শুনি this thing comes যে কি ওই স্পেসটা হয়তো অনেকে লাইক করে, because that just the 4-piece band ওইটাতে একটা স্পেস ক্রিয়েট হইতো ওইটাতে I think, but at the same time some of the things were missing, like তুমি নাই second, and এটা থাকলে তো ভালো, you know, so that's how things got in. But I agree with you that we have to be a little careful in how some works are fitting into the song, because অনেক সময় হয় যে এত বছর যখন বাজাইতেছো লাইভে তখন everybody wants to break away a little bit, because it's a, how can you just go on, do, but I think coming to your question, I would answer that we may have it would be better for us to evaluate actually যে চেঞ্জ হলেও actually কোন জায়গাটায় থাকা দরকার সেটার একটা বোর্ডামটা বোঝা যায়, বাট চেঞ্জ হলে কি হবে এটাও একটা ডিটারমিন করা দরকার, বিকজ মানে অ্যাবসলিউট একটা জায়গায় যাওয়াটা হয়তো সংগুলোকে হয়তো নট কমপ্লিমেন্ট করে না or something like that.
প্রয়াসের sorry, not Proyash, Probaho's biggest call out for me is your work with Polashi Prantor. How did you come up with that? When it took instinctive?
Just like that, yeah. That's another solo I'm happy with. Another solo I'm happy with is Hello Dhaka.
Underrated.
It has মানে twisting of মানে every one of us, particularly Manam, Shafin, myself, somewhat I'm less, but these two are experts আর কি, মানে একটা খামাকা টুইস্ট আনতে হবে, মানে ওকে দিস না এটা এরকম করলে, so Hello Dhaka has that. So figured that out. Manam had one or two songs similar. এইটা এরকম হইলে ভালো হয়, এই ব্যাপারটা যে কি বিরক্তিকর, বাট it was at the end of the day it was so right.
That different perspective. So Probaho, 2 call-outs for you.
Same, Hello Dhaka and Polashi.
Serious?
Yeah.
Parina Bojhatey was also a very, 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 very nice song.
We recorded that in Art of Noise.
Oh.
The day পয়লা বৈশাখে একটা বম ব্লাস্ট হয়েছিল, that was the day we recorded the drums. Wow. It was right next door.
In the last couple of albums, was there any call-outs for you? I'll save my piece for last, but Pratiksha is a song which I feel had a huge promise, but you guys don't play that enough, or don't play a lot.
No, I think Pratidhwani's entire album went a very experimental one, and it did not really transpire into what we had been doing previously, and also in the manner we were doing previously. That also had it started to go very single-minded thing instead of a group work.
Was that just a reflection of the time?
And also I think along the way on the road and in your journey, I think things do start to get that way. Credit to those, আমাদেরও credit আছে, we still work together, but what I'm saying is Pratidhwani didn't have that really, most of it. I was severely engaged with something else in my life that I would not concentrate, but কোনো ছাড় নাই, because I was constantly complained, your song was supposed to be ready, you are not ready, what will happen? And since we're talking about it, Shaf was always he's very regimented kind of, so he's like on dot every time his song, he's
there,
he will bring his song structured everything and we go ahead. Creative processes যে ওপেনিং বিষয়টা জানা এটা হইতেছে না এরকম, লেটস ড্রপ ইট, এইটার মধ্যে সে না, এটা হলে যে ওয়াই উই আর ওয়েস্টিং টাইম এটসেট্রা। তো আমার ওই সময়, বিকজ আমরা অলসো ভেরি প্রাইভেট, মানে ইটস নট লাইক প্রবলেমস উই ডোন্ট ডিসকাস, সো I was not into creative process at all, and I was constantly then we got the 2 songs, একটা শুভ্র লিখছিল যে টুকুন ভাই যদি একটু, I think I love that, work also, because by that time both Manam and Shafin যেভাবে structured করে song আনতেছিল, and not because ওই যে বললাম group work না হয়ে one sided হচ্ছে. So I just wanted to break away, and I said I'm going to. So I created, when I created at one time, it came as Jai Jai Din Jai.
Beautiful girl.
And I said, Princeton শুনাইছি আমি এখন এইটা বাজাবো, that's it. তো okay, the band went. Then তোমার আরেকটা গান তুমি করবা না? আমি করতেছি. Then I would go ahead, and then suddenly came with this, চিন্তা করলাম কি করব. I said আমি স্ট্রাকচার্ড করবই না, সো কি হবে, আমি আনলাম long solo at the beginning, and long solo in the interlude, and just one verse. এটা কি হবে স্যার, আমি এটাই ভাবি করবো.
জয় দিন জয় অসহায় কি do you
আমার অনেস্ট আমার যেটা আমি কখনো বলি নাই, because we had a triangular একটা ওয়ার্ক, আমার ওয়ার্কগুলো অনেক ক্ষেত্রে, বেশিরভাগ ক্ষেত্রে অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমি যা সেটা রিফ্লেকশন প্লেইং এ আছে, সং ক্রিয়েশনে ওকে, বাট আমার অন্য সাইডটা আমি কখনো এক্সপোজ করতে পারিনি, অন্য একটা সাইড. মানে ধরো একটু যদি ইস্টার্ন ফ্লেভারে কিছু করতে চাইছে, যেহেতু শাফিন এটা করতো, সো আই ইউজড টু বি, যেহেতু মানাম করতো পপ সেলেবল, তো ওইটাতে ঢুকতে পারতাম. So I was like left to do rocking songs. Let's do some rocking songs and etc. So we went on, did that. But there was this other side of me that never got. যেটা কিছু solo কাজে it came out like Fuad রাব্বির সাথে যে গানটা করছি সেটা একটা. Then my second work was তুমি কোথায়. That was টুটুলের একটা project ছিল. That song caught up pretty good. Then obviously recently পলাশের সাথে এটা করলাম.
কিন্তু আপনি তো খুব একটা ভেঞ্চার আউট করেন নাই on your own in a way.
আমি একটা ভেঞ্চার আউট করছি, একটা স্যাম্পল হয়তো ডিফারেন্ট পাইছে, হচ্ছে আলাউদ্দিন ভাইয়ের ট্রিবিউটটা যখন করছি.
আচ্ছা,
বাট অবভিয়াসলি দ্যাটস ভেরি ডিফারেন্ট. বাট আমি বলতে চাচ্ছি যে আমি যদি ওই পার্টটাকে ফিউজ করতে চাইতাম করতে পারতাম. বাট ওটা অলরেডি, যেমন তোমার কতকাল খুঁজবো তোমায়, ইজ লাইক দ্যাট, প্রথম প্রেমের মতো দের ইজ দিস টাচ, পাতা ঝরে যায় তো দের ইজ দিস টাচ. সো ওইটার থেকে অ্যাওয়ে ইজ লাইক সেগমেন্টেড আর কি. আই এম ডুইং ওয়ান পার্ট অফ থিংস, ইজ ডুইং ওয়ান. সো আই গেস নীলা ওয়াজ দ্য অনলি আদার পার্ট যেটা
করতে পারছেন,
যেটা মানে একটু ওই জায়গাতে আর কি. রিমঝিম ওয়াজ ব্লুজ, ওকে, মানামের মিষ্টি হাসি was another. I like that lead playing in Mishti Haashi actually. Yes, some days back I was listening to it. Did I play that? Jumping scale was another thing that we used to do, because it's like an attack. If it like Neelar interlude keysটা এটা কিন্তু jump
but modulate করতেই থাকে.
It gives a fresh thing, like it's like,
and then it brings you back. That's a very 70s way of songwriting. So you lead people somewhere and then you bring them back. Mishti Haashi is very interesting, because Mishti Haashi মধ্যে I think I feel a lot of your Chambeli days coming back. ওই Jailhouse Rock and এগুলা,
এটা ফ্রেডের ইনফ্লুয়েন্স ছিল. তখন we were into Deep Purple hardly. He got me into blues actually. John Mel, Mike Bloomfield. Mike Bloomfield, how would I know? I mean, said, have you heard him? No. He said, so we played Marianne by Mike Bloomfield in Chambeli. Okay. So that was the Jeff Beck into Chambeli, that kind of thing. Have you heard this? No. So he got, then I got the taste of it, then I got more interested in it, then etc. Mishti Haashi was a natural fallout from that.
ওটা বোঝাই যায়, all that thing comes out from প্রতিধ্বনি. Any, so Jayadin Jay or Oshohai, do you use that in the live set much or no?
Jayadin Jay.
That's a great song. Bale Janish Chonik Bale. And then Protitchobi. I'd like to say, I think Priotoma Megh apnar solo ta, I think we talked about this back in Dhaka when I was there. One of my most favorite solos.
I'm glad you like.
And he said the same thing last time. It is, glad you like it, because it doesn't follow form. It is a very, very, how did you come up with that?
Priotoma Megh itself, the song wise, that's the kind of work we should do, because it was miles but different, and it fit in. So Priotoma Megh কয়েকটা characteristics আছে. একটা হচ্ছে যে totally তিনটা different part, because the concept was 3 people talking about one girl. So তুমি ফুল নাকি প্রজাপতি is one part. কোলা হলে কেন এসেছিলে, that's one part. Then the other part is এই পৃথিবী. So এটা ছিল কনসেপ্টের ব্যাপারটা. আর মধ্যের পার্টটা ছিল, I told মানাম যে it is beautiful, একটা কালারে আছে, এইটাতে এইটা ফিউজ করলে মানে একটা স্পেস ক্রিয়েশন, মানে সামথিং টু ডিফারেন্ট.
টুইস্টটা এবার আপনি আনছেন.
হ্যাঁ, এটা এরকম হলে I said এটা ফ্লোতে রাখো, everything is going so ফ্লোতে রাখো. So it worked.
And Protitchobi, you went away from Shongita and you went to Deadline Music. It was a different
Deadline Music? No, Protitchobi was Miles.
Was still with Shongita?
We didn't do it anymore.
Okay, so you're still...
By that time it was online and stuff.
Oh, acha.
Yeah, because...
GP sponsored.
I think Deadline Music just distributed it, and that's how I remember something.
Okay.
Deadline Music, actually, there's any information I'll check out. Is it legal or what is it?
প্রতিধ্বনি থেকেই ওই চেঞ্জটা আসছিল, from tape to moving into computer and everything. So a lot of things happened there.
So
প্রতিচ্ছবিতে এসে we were like, okay, now we have a system, we know how to work it. But Agenta was very experienced.
So what was the thinking process behind it? Now we'll go out of Shongita and try to do this ourselves.
কোনো উপায় ছিল না, because we're not going to do with them, because we're not going to sign off the rights. That was one thing, so it didn't work out. So কিভাবে হবে তাহলে? It can happen from the telephone platform and go into DSPs, and that's it. So that's what it was. We were lucky that GP picked it and pushed and pulled. So. Priotoma Megh became pretty good, so that was one good thing. But there were some other songs I really like Yeshona. China is a song, Juliet, that's very nice.
Mone Hoy was a fantastic song from that album.
Mone Hoy was, again, I did it in a hurry, wasn't thinking much, and then the guys thought it was acha hoite pare erokom, but when I listen now, it gets me somewhere. I don't know what it's like. My concept of Mone Hoy was like
sort of a second version.
That era of this Elvis and what's his name, the famous Sinatra and all that, and I was thinking, what if you brought it in a bass song and then half time the song, you know what I mean?
তুমি খুব সুন্দর গাইছো,
played on a beat.
তারপর মনে হয় যে
Jewel did a beautiful part with the delay just before the chorus comes.
going back to a couple of the last things is lyrics. When you are writing songs, what is the chronology of your thinking process? Apnar ki tune age lyrics pore naki mane how are you thinking, or do you let the lyrics speak to you?
I just realized one thing is that Prottashaর সময় নষ্টতি যখন করতেছিল তখন the next day's recording was I was to bring a song. So had this lyric that was already written and in hand. And I remember recording শেষ করে বাসায় গিয়ে 10টার দিকে না 11টার দিকে I just went বিছানায় শুয়ে just looking at the lyric, and then the tune came. But when the tune came, I realized one thing, that without instruments it's just fantastic because your mind is so open, you can go everywhere. Then I tuned a lot just without any instrument. Because instrument নিলেই একটা ট্র্যাকে নিতে চায়. It was free.
একটা direction নিতে চায়.
So that happened. Most of it was with instruments. Lyrics second, composition first.
It does feel like that way.
Sometimes. But then I wrote my own songs. So
yes. And Manam bhai, Shafin
and
bhai,
I used to do weird thinking. I wanted to bring some, but those are subtle. Shuptobashona. Everybody Shuptobashona is actually very like Prem naki Bhalobesho naki amar mone Shuptobashona. So the line is used actually the sexuality and all that. But Bangla গানে তো ওভাবে আনা যায় না।
এইজন্য আপনি ওটা 3 বার করে গেছেন।
হ্যাঁ। So Shuptobashona indicated what? আরেকটা করছিলাম হচ্ছে এই মগ্ন এই রাত।
স্বপ্নিলের রাতে।
স্বপ্নিলের রাত is also sex, drug and rock and roll. But just wanted to যে কিভাবে বললে
সবাই পছন্দ করবে
না acceptable চিল্লানো আর what the hell have you written, that kind of thing.
Manam bhai, Shafin bhai ki their approach was lyric first, tune second, or was it more
tune lyric? Shafin or tune lyric more, some lyric tune.
Before I call it off, from a guitar playing point of view, obviously we have you, we have Bachu bhai, we have a lot of other people. Your views on the guitar playing that was being played by Labu bhai, Bachu bhai, 70s, 80s, and now what the kids are playing, just any observations?
People, I think the guitar players generally, Bangladesh has a lot of guitar players, and I think generally some of them are really, really good. Some new ones are also very technically good and good any other way, for example. And at the time that we did it, I have seen Fazlera, Larry, these guys were seriously good players. Ishtiaq, very naturally, when a musician it's not like set, tulsi, ita bajao, erom na. You put them in and they will play you something which would make sense to you. So that kind of player. So from that to like Bachu was extremely good. He was good in his own area. But the best part of him was that he also took totality te jara bajaye. ও যখন টিভির প্রোগ্রামগুলো দেখো he's just fitting in.
Beautiful.
And nice. Kaniz's album যেটা করছে, I told him, why the hell, how did you do so many good songs and you didn't do it for yourself? I said, hey, why? My boss হয়ে গেছে এটা, something like that. But like ওইগুলোর ভালোবাসা মানের ভিতরের যে that is something which is like makes sense. That's what I want to say. And ওটা হচ্ছে যখন তুমি গানটাকে ধরে বাজাচ্ছ, ওর তো তাই করতো, ওর ওপেন স্পেস ছিল, key of E was favorite and etc. But then he was awesome. In many different ways. He delivered always. জিলটা ছিল really he took that instrument, established in Dhaka as the main instrument in the Zil, and he delivered. I'm sure he worked very hard for it.
Absolutely.
Kamal, I would say, another opener for another genre of music. I think he made a lot of sense for his time. and what he did for Warface. And definitely Russell was outstanding actually. He was outstanding. That's why he could go out and do what he's doing. He was also very musical. Now he understands music much more. And he discusses the parts I played, and he realizes why these parts are like that. Fuad Ibn Rabbi nobody mentions, nobody talks about him, but I think of the whole bunch that was coming up then, the Indhakas, the Rockstratas, Warface and all that, I think he was a very accomplished player. Humble, quiet, but that's his negativity actually. I kept telling him he should go. He's not the kind of person who would go out, but he was very good player. Noyon Munshi was a very good player way back when we were just friends and picking up guitar. He was on a different level. Nowadays there's a lot of them. Rafa himself is very talented and all that. There are other guitar players who are equally. One guy I miss who was amazing again, making when we took extra bit was Nemesis guitar player. Mahir. He's a big miss. He was so good. Musical, it's nothing forced in. Lot of players are now also forced. It's a YouTube thing. You, instead of, I say it this way, instead of the tools and the techniques becoming your arsenal and you use it when you need it, those becoming the one to fall for any creative work is such a wrong process to do. So lot of একটা জিনিস হচ্ছে যে বাংলা গানে কি যেতে পারে lot of অনেক গিটারে তো অনেক ধরনের কাজ হচ্ছে, so the kids are getting very excited about ওই বয়সে যেটা হয়, the speed, that riff, and অনেক mainly riff based. তো এটা বাংলা গানে কতটুক যায় বা কতটুক অ্যাডাপ্টেশনটা ঠিক হচ্ছে কিনা সেটার একটা ব্যাপার আছে, কারণ সব দেশেরই একটা নিজস্ব একটা ওয়ে থাকে, এই ওয়েটার থেকে ব্রেক করলে যদি কেউ করতে পারে তো বাচ্চু যে গিটারে আগুন ধরে দিল, এত কিছু ও যে করলো, ওর গান সবচেয়ে স্মরণীয় করে রাখছে মানুষ হচ্ছে সেই তুমি। কেন the melody, obviously the lyric, the words thrown with the melody, that did it. ফিরে যাওয়ার প্রেম কেন, নীলা কেন, it's the melody, the words, lyrics and the melody. অবাক ভালোবাসা, Warface, hard rock, boom boom ফাটাই ফেলতে, what's the best song of Warface? অবাক ভালোবাসা, classic, beautiful. তো মানুষ কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়ালি লিসনার্স বাংলাদেশে যত আমরা বোকা মনে করতে চাই বা শুনে না মনে করতে চাই, কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়ালি দে আর মাচ মোর ইন্টেলিজেন্ট দ্যান দ্যাট, এবং দে পিক ইউর বেস্ট ওয়ার্ক। এটা কিন্তু আমি মানি, দে পিক ইউর বেস্ট ওয়ার্ক। তো সেই অর্থে দ্য কারেন্ট ক্রপ অফ মিউজিশিয়ানসদেরকে একটা অ্যাডভান্টেজ হলো ইউটিউব, দি আদার ডিসঅ্যাডভান্টেজ হচ্ছে ইউটিউব। It's influencing them not to think for themselves. আর এখন তো দেখা যাচ্ছে এই টেকনিকটা, যখন একজন টেকনিকটা তুলছে, ইয়াং আমরাও তো ছিলাম, আমরা জানি what happens, টেকনিকটা যখন তুলছে তখন he wants to apply it, and if it so happens that he's creating a song, now he is bringing this technique that he has picked up very well into the new song. Now the song doesn't
might not need.
The skill level has gone up, application level has fallen.
Lastly, any we've got some friends in the room. Any questions for Hamin bhai from anyone?
No, Hamin bhai professionally to come কাজ করছে. When you released the single in Anandodhara, I was quite impressed that আপনি অন্যদের মতো করে মিক্সড অ্যালবামে নিজের কিছু ক্রিয়েশন, but that was the only one I remember in the high days of bad music. Anandodhara, I think Tulu bhai was arranging and he did two songs.
দুইটা গান দিতে হবে,
but it was your tune, I think, because the structure was different. তখন তো এরকম ডিটেল লেখা থাকতো না, but song
শুনলে
structure
বোঝা
was
যাচ্ছে।
that it's not Tulu Bhai's work because the chords was in major 7th note is changing very drastically from one to other twisting, so but আর করেননি আপনি
I was very much into the band thing, and I have my own thoughts. And look, we all, Miles gave birth to Hamin, Shafin and Manam. Manam joto studio work korto. I tell him, he sometimes argues, but I keep on saying it. Miles, the kind of exposure it has given, because who were we? We were just bunch of 3 kids who just was interested to do music. We weren't famous first and then, but no. Our seniors took us, gave us the platform, we took it, we bloomed along with the band. So that was my thing. তখন সোল স্টোলসের এক্সাম্পল দেখে আই নিউ দ্যাট ইউ গো টু ডু যার জন্য ওর কথা সূত্রে আর কি ইজ দ্যাট ইউ কনসেন্ট্রেট এনি মাচ অন দ্য সোলো ওয়ার্ক দেন ভেরি সুন দেয়ার উইল বি আ সিচুয়েশন ওয়ার বাই ইউ উইল হ্যাভ আ সিচুয়েশন যে তখন তো কলটা আমারই নিতে হবে। শাফিনের সাথে যখন আর্গুমেন্ট হয়েছিল যে সোলো করবি কেন, মানে ওয়াই, তপন চৌধুরী তো সোলসে থাকতে পারে না, আলটিমেটলি ইট হ্যাপেন্স, ইটস অনলি ন্যাচারাল ফ্যাক্টর। সো দ্যাট অলসো হ্যাপেন্ড ইন আস, তাই না? আলটিমেটলি দ্যাট কেম ট্রু। সো আই ওয়াজ ভেরি মানে সর্ট অফ স্কেয়ার্ড অফ দ্যাট, যে যেমন সিম্পলি আমি বলতে, ইফ ওয়ান অফ মাই সংস ইটস আ পিকড আপ হিউজ, then every time people go যেমন কি আজ জন্মদিন তোমার, and কে কাকে বুঝাবে যে এটা প্রিন্সের গান, এটা মাইলসের না, and শাফিন কে মাইলস, শাফিন সোলো কে বুঝাবে? yesterday there was জন্মদিন, and there were times you had to say sorry কাছে যখন আসে, sorry জন্মদিন is not a Miles song, yeah, তাই নাকি, you know, that kind of thing. So it does happen. That's why you cannot run it parallel. Cannot run it parallel. You have to go away from the band to do it. So এইসব এইগুলো হচ্ছে the other part of Bangladesh's music scenario and etc. Like অনেক ডিবেট হয় না যে mixed album has created a situation whereby LRBর কথা যে বাচ্চু যখন LRB করে তখন he was completely into the band with those members and everything. ওই যখনই the economics came, popularity came, তখনই the need for I am the front, I am the guy, এই যে ব্যাপারটা, এই ব্যাপারটা একটা সাংঘাতিক ব্যাপার। এবং এটা যেহেতু আমাদের দেশে হয়তো ব্যালেন্স মানে কি, তোমার কর্পোরেশন, তারপরে তোমার মিডিয়া সর্ট অফ প্লেজ আ রোল। মানুষ তো সবাই এট দি এন্ড অফ দ্য ডে, হ্যাঁ, তো আর সবার পক্ষে ব্যালেন্স করা সম্ভব হয় না। তো যদি তুমি একা হও তাহলে তো তুমি 8-3-4 জনকে নিয়ে যে ব্যান্ডটা করছো, যেটা বাচ্চুর জন্য পজিটিভ ছিল, সোলো করতে পারতো ব্যান্ড, বিকজ হি ওয়াজ দ্য গাই। বাট ইন আ ব্যান্ড যেটা মাইলস টুগেদার হয়ে আসছে, সেটার জন্য ওয়াজ ভেরি ডিফিকাল্ট, বিকজ এভরিবডি, মানে if I go out now I can have my own band. If Shaf went, he has his own band. If Manam goes, he can have his band too. আর একটা বিষয় হচ্ছে যে when you are giving your best years into one belief system, then you suddenly see another picture. It is very difficult to adjust. When you ask yourself, then why did I give so many years for what, you know? তো এইসব জিনিস তারা তো ডিটেলে কেউ চিন্তা করে না, সাদা মাটা দেখে আর কি। বাট একটা ক্রিয়েটিভ প্রসেসে, একটা নেম বিল্ডিং, ফেম বিল্ডিং প্রসেসে একটা ব্যান্ডের থেকে যখন হয়, তখন অনেক কিছু ইনভলভ থাকে, অনেক কিছু ইনভলভ থাকে। আই মিন, অবাক ভালোবাসা ইজ নট জাস্ট Bhabna brought the tune. It's a whole process, আছে না, সবাই বলতে পারে, হ্যাঁ, obviously the tune he has a lot of credit definitely deserves that. So.
But on the flip side, going back to Amshu Bhai's point, ওই যে আপনিও মাঝে যে বললেন যে there was another side that you probably couldn't bring in. Obviously there's still time, but maybe from that angle is what people are saying, যে আপনার আরেকটা সাইড আমরা ওই ধরনের গানগুলোতে পেয়েছিলাম যেটা
আমরা মানব ভাই হয়তো যেহেতু he used to be a session musician composing so many songs, managed to do that, like Prince ভাইয়ের মা গানের অ্যারেঞ্জমেন্ট বা এই যে গানগুলা আমরা মিক্সে শুনছি, একটা সময় উনি তো সব গান কম্পোজ করতো, ট্র্যাক বানানো মানে মানব ভাই হচ্ছে গিয়ে বেস্ট পারসন টু গো।
মানামের ব্যাপারটা ছিল বিকজ he did so much time in the studios with Alauddin Bhai that filmer music background. He has another reputation of basically as a musician. So lot of those songs and etc. Manamer kache jetoi because they wanted him to arrange and do that thing. সেটা একটা ব্যাপার, কিন্তু when you are singing and you're fronting something
different,
then it is a different matter. Very soon it would start to
catch up. Any other questions from anyone?
আমার একটা কোশ্চেন আছে, সেটা হচ্ছে যে লেট 80s আর্লি 90s এ যখন আমরা দেখতাম যে কমার্শিয়ালি সাকসেসফুল খুব সিম্পল চার কোডে গান করে যাচ্ছে, আপনারা এসে ঠিক যে আপনি যেটা বলেন টুইস্ট আনা, স্কেল ধুপ করে চেঞ্জ করে দেয়া, ওইটা কি ন্যাচারাল অর ইউ ওয়ান্টেড টু ক্রিয়েট আ সিগনেচার অফ ইউর ওন, অর ওই রিস্কটা মানে আপনার চিন্তা করতেন কিনা, অর ইট জাস্ট দ্য ফ্লো?
এগেইন আমাদের জার্নিটা যেখান থেকে হয়েছে, and obviously the family, my father, his tunes, any which way you want to bring in, আমাদের যেটা হয়েছে সেটা হচ্ছে it's not just to bring a টুইস্টার কথা বলতেছিলাম যে ইন দ্য সেন্স যে অ্যারেঞ্জমেন্টটা যখন করা হয়তো তখন হয়তো একটু ডিফারেন্স আনার জন্য একটা অন্য টার্ন নেওয়ার একটা চেষ্টা সবারই থাকতো, বাট আসল ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে যে দিস ইজ ওয়্যার ইট ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট, আপনারা যে প্রশ্নটা করছেন ইজ দ্যাট ওয়েন ইউ লিসেন টু লট অফ মিউজিক, আমি একদম সোজা কথা বলি যে স্টিভি ওয়ান্ডার হ্যাড বিন স্কুল ফর আস, বিকজ তখন কি বাংলাদেশে কোনো টিচার ছিল, নো ইউটিউব ছিল, নো হাউ ডিড ইউ নো যে ওয়েল আই ইউজ আ 9th আর 13th আর মেজর 7th কর্ড, আমাদের গানে যেমন অনেক মেজর 7th ব্যবহার হয়, বাট দেয়ার ইজ ইভেন শার্প 9th আছে, কেউ বুঝে কেউ বোঝে না। পয়েন্টটা হচ্ছে যে ইস্যুটা হচ্ছে when we studied Stevie Wonder day in day out and we played 3, 4, 5 of his songs picking up by the year, we learned the relationship of chords, that how chords beautify. একটা গান চারটা কর্ডে হতেই পারে, কিন্তু can you do more than that? Yes, you can do. So Steely Dan যখন তুলছি, then it showed, good God, মানে what can you do with the chords, how beautifully. Then the instrumentals, then you know, like George Benson বলো, Jeff Beck বলো, or whoever it is, তার প্রত্যেকেরই একটা জায়গা। পুলিশ যখন করতে গেলাম তখন দেখলাম এক্সটেন্ডেড কর্ডস কাকে বলে, হ্যাঁ, ইজ জাস্ট স্ট্রামিং দ্যাট উইথ ওপেন স্ট্রিংস এন্ড দ্য ফ্রেট ক্যারি করতে হবে, দ্যাট ওয়াজ, এই জিনিসটা আমাদেরকে খুব ইন্টারেস্ট করতো এবং উই লার্ন দ্যাট এন্ড লার্ন দ্যাট বাই আওয়ারসেলভস। সো যখন গান বানাতে গেছি তখন অল দোজ থিংস কেম, যে যেমন চাঁদ তারা সূর্য নাও, পিপল টুক ইট, এর মধ্যে সাসপেন্ডেড কর্ডস ভরা, এর মধ্যে প্যাসেজেস আছে, যে প্যাসেজ ওই গানে মানে ওই ধরনের গানে তখন ওই প্যাসেজ কেউ এরকম একটা মুভমেন্ট, এটা গানের মধ্যে তো
কনসেপচুয়ালাইজ করা হয়।
লিসনিং আই উড সে, আপনার কোয়েশ্চেনের অ্যান্সারটা হলো যে আনফর্চুনেটলি আমাদের স্কুল নাই বলে বাংলাদেশে এটা একটা দৈন্যতা, অ্যাকচুয়ালি প্যাথেটিক, যে মিউজিক স্কুল নাই। এত মানুষ এত ট্যালেন্টেড, এত মিউজিক করতে চায়, কোনো মিউজিক স্কুল নাই। শেখাবার সেরকম, হ্যাঁ শিখাই বললে হবে না তো, ইফ ইউ শিখাই বলতে গেলে বলতে হবে যে ডু ইউ নো হাউ টু, এটা হচ্ছে ফার্স্ট, বিকজ এর তো একটা পুরো রিপেটর আছে, এটা তো পুরো একটা কি বলা হয় সিলেবাস আছে, বিকজ তুমি যদি রং প্যাথে নাও তাহলে কিন্তু সে রং পাতে চলে গেল, আবার রাইট করতে গেলে প্রবলেম। সো ইউ হ্যাভ টু বি ভেরি কেয়ারফুল। যে যেমন অধিকাংশ সময় আমি যখন কথা বলি, ফর এক্সাম্পল যেমন কেজ সিস্টেম ব্যবহার বা কেন করা হয় এটা কেউ জানে না, মানে জানে মানে আমার জেনারেলি একটা ইয়াং অ্যাসপারেন্ট গিটারিস্টকে বা যে শিখছে তাকে কেজ সিস্টেমের মারাত্মক ইউজটা কি এটা কেউ বলে না। সো দ্যাটস আ ভেরি রং থিং টু ডু, নট টু গেট হিম। এসব কিছু ব্যাপার আছে যেগুলো প্রপারলি শিখতে পারলে অনেক অনেক সবার, বাংলাদেশের সবার জন্য সুবিধা হইতো। যেমন কোরিয়ান একটা ইনস্টিটিউট করছিল, ওখানে গিয়ে কিন্তু অনেকে উপকৃত হয়েছে, বিকজ দে থট ইন দ্য প্রপার যে আসল ব্যাপারটা কি। তো এরকম আর তো আমাদের সময় ছিল না, সো উই হ্যাড টু রিড and then listen, pick up, and that was the learning.
আমার একটা কোয়েশ্চেন আছে, মানে it might be hard to pick one. মানে what is your favorite chords?
It would be as simple as A minor. It depends on
mood, of course.
Depends on what the song is about. But if you ask me personally, somehow, যেমন Priotoma is one song I really love doing. It came in a rehearsal-এর শেষ করে রিহার্সালের পিছনের ঘরে বসে এসে গেলে তখন করছি। Also like the chords I used, that's also very different. But Major Seventh is one of my very মানে একটু কিরম বার এলিভেট করে আর কি। Just মানে wow.
Any parting words for the viewers or anyone, Hamin bhai? It's been an absolute pleasure hosting you.
Yes, Saif, thank you for having me. Listening to good music is important, and trying to learn as much as possible is also very important. I think those two things is invaluable.
Cool. Thank you.